they work in many different ways.
Sometimes one can look just like the other.
Sometimes one is different every day.
One thing's for sure, they're always changing. One thing's for sure, we don't know why. All that I know is when I'm grown up, I'll be the size to look them in the eye. Things they come in different shapes and sizes.
Things we find, and many are quite rare.
What I see, it looks just like a circle.
What I see, it looks just like a square.
One thing's for sure, they're always changing. One thing's for sure, we don't know why. All that I know is when I'm grown up, I'll be the size to look them in the eye. Things are made in different shapes and sizes.
Things are made in many different ways.
Sometimes one can look just like the other.
Sometimes one is different every day.
One thing's for sure, they're always changing. One thing's for sure, we don't know why. All that I know is when I'm grown up, I'll be the size to look them in the eye. I'll be the size to look them in the eye.
And welcome, everybody, to another wonderful episode of Canuckleheads.
Come on, man.
Welcome, everybody. I like to start off the show. Where's Flynn? He's getting set up. He's in the lobby. I'm saying hello to everybody out there, the brand new viewers across multiple different beautiful countries that are joining us for the first time. Thank you so much, Samantha. Appreciate it. Quinton will be joining us very, very shortly. Don't worry. I'm just letting people filter in. I'm letting people come in. I'm letting people get in here. Come on, man. I'm letting people filter in, and it's storytelling time, right? Because there's a couple things I have to address before we really dig in to the stream today. So. Like as with anything, this stream was completely not thought up or scripted. I literally came up with the idea, I think, on Thursday. Wednesday or Thursday, completely just like popped into my brain. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna talk about some crazy stuff that's going on. We're gonna be talking about the mentality of people online, right? And And it just so happens that there was an individual that really took that to the next level, is actively trying to take this stream down, actively trying to take down all of my social medias. I really don't care, folks. I really don't care. Let me just be perfectly honest. I exist in a realm outside of the internet, right? I am a physical person. I live in a world. So I don't really care if people are attacking my socials, and stuff like that. These people do. So that was the entire purpose of the stream today originally, was because I wanted to dive into that topic and really give my background. Like I went to school primarily for art, but I did take psychology as a secondary, like as a minor. So like that was always something that really, it really resonated with me. It like really got interested in like the human mind and things like that. So looking at all of these different things and all this stuff happening, like towards Vic, towards Quinton, towards Johnny Young Bosch, a bunch of other people. 9. That funny part, Gav, that 9 dislike thing that got nuked. It was at 35 dislikes and it got nuked down to 9. So there's a bunch of hate bot accounts that got swept off the internet. So, one from Ron, the rest from the clown bots. So yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about that today, and give a little bit of my thoughts, and kind of I don't have the PhD, obviously. I don't have the paper, but I do have the experience of being like around people with psychology degrees and people that are quote unquote smarter than I am. But I wanted to talk a little bit about that today, and then it just so happened I caught the attention of a few people. Talked a little bit about things, and then was chatting with Quinton, and invited Quinton on the show, so we can kind of have this little coffee table discussion about what's been going on with him, about the stuff that he's had to go through. I'm gonna pretty much talk a little bit about the experiences that I had when we were inviting Vic to Kitchener Comic-Con, and things like that. The amount and the things before that too. There's a lot of stuff that people don't know. There's a lot of stuff right from the Vic Mignogna thing, right, that people have been following for a very long time. People understand that. There was people attacking our convention, attacking myself, attacking my friends, even before we invited Vic, before Vic was even on our radar. So this is not a unique thing, and I have the unique opportunity of seeing many different sides of it. I see Quinton's side, I see Vic's side, I see my friend's side. I've been in it myself, so I think that I'm uniquely qualified to talk about internet outrage and the clown circus. But going back to the intro, because I know people were like kind of like, what is this craziness? I thought it was perfect, because like when I thought social media circus, it harkened back to the days when I was watching YTV out here in Canada. It harkened back to those days when I was watching all of that nonsense, and back before you were allowed to have commercials on YTV. They only had like 25, 26-minute episodes, because everywhere else in the world you could run commercials, but on YTV you weren't allowed to run commercials on children's television. So they had to have fillers of like 5 to 10 minutes between shows, because the shows just didn't run that long. And so they had things called short circuits, and that was one of the short circuits that ran on YTV, was that song and that thing from Imaginaria. The song is pretty fire, and when I thought about circuses, that was the first one that came to mind. So there you go. I want to say that. So welcome everybody in the chat. Thank you guys so much for coming out here today. Again, I'm giving people time to roll in here. I'm giving time for Quinton to set up. He's in the lobby. He's just getting himself settled. He's getting himself set up. So wish that was the case for the US. Good old channel 28. Absolutely. But yeah, we're giving people time to roll in here. I know that we usually get the majority of people coming in at about 6:30, about half an hour in, 20 to 30 minutes in. 20 to 30 minutes in. So we're just gonna sit and we're gonna wrap a little bit here, because I need to address somebody out there. Well, multiple somebodies, not just one person in particular, because that would be rude. But multiple somebodies out there. And I said this on Twitter too. When someone is saying to you, or anybody, really, it's just even a random person on the street, if you're saying to somebody that you are a lunatic, you're crazy, you're a psychopath, life tip, don't act like a psychopath in return. It's just, if you don't want to be seen as a crazy person, the last thing that you should do is start throwing cats at people. Just saying, and just putting that out there. Just putting that out there. But by all means, do you. So I know there's a lot of people that are going to get pretty fired up about this stream, as we're going to talk about some pretty hot button topics. I like to think, if you've watched the stream before, I'm pretty fair about this type of stuff. I'm pretty like calm and collected about this kind of stuff. But I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to get really, really pissed off and really, really offended by it. So, last thing that I want to say about that, full disclosure again for all people, don't contact these lunatics. That's what they want. They want to be victimized. They want to be, they want to play, like that they're being attacked, that they're being harassed, that they're being blah 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 blah. Just don't contact them. Don't give them what they want. Be the good plant parent that you are, and let the plant die of starvation, please. Like we know that everybody does. Just let it die. There's no point in engaging people that have absolutely no grasp on reality. There's absolutely no reason to feed in. I mean, you want to laugh at them, go for it. I don't even block them, honestly. I don't even block them because that's a victory for them, right? That gives them a pity points, like even 1 point of pity points. It's too much. I just mute them. I mute them so I don't have to hear them, and they can scream and cry and think that they are getting through and making me mad. I'm not mad at all. I don't care. Be the plant some creeper crunch, yes. Phoenix Animation's in the chat. CG Metalsmith, Phoenix Animation, hello, welcome. You're absolutely amazing. Phoenix Animation is doing a couple of I think it's Kickstarters or Indiegogos right now. I don't remember which, but has a couple of really cool projects going on. You should go check them out. And go check them out. Galden and Reclaiming Zandara. Reclaiming Zandara and Galden are the two projects. Yours truly is going to be a character. Well, one of my OG characters actually is going to be a character in Galden. But yes, looking forward to hearing some from this gentleman. You've been trying to skim the document. Hopefully hearing his interview will provide some insight from your perspective. Absolutely, Ken. I am very excited that you're here. Thank you so much for joining us. Ken, for those of you who don't know, Ken's counseling couch in the chat right now. Ken is an actual therapist. Like, Ken is a real card carrying. I don't know if you can sign prescriptions. I don't want to mischaracterize you here, Ken. You are a card carrying therapist, someone who actually has like full training in that spectrum, in that area. So very glad that Ken is here and hanging out. We definitely invited him to join us today. Absolutely. Very cool, Phoenix Animation. I'm happy. Yes. There was another chat that I saw as well. Indiegogo. Perfect. What the heck? I saw somebody say something and I wanted to address that. I can't see it anymore. Oh yeah, I'm so bad. I keep forgetting to shill my own shit. If you have Patreon and you want to support the show, there is a Patreon up there that you can join. It goes like super cheap to a bit more expensive. You don't have to. It's not required. You can do it if you want to. Joining the Patreon gets you into the exclusive Discord club. You get in the Discord. We can chat, all that good stuff. Now you're a therapist, Ken. You're a therapist. Oh, psychiatrists can write scripts. Okay. That makes sense. Good stuff. So yeah, you can join the Patreon if you want to join the Discord. If you don't, then that's cool too. At the top of the chat right now, you can see it. Whoop. Top of the chat, there is a link that you can click if you want to super chat, because we're so close. I think we're like 150 officially away, because like right now, it's there's some like weird thing with YouTube where it's kind of between subscribers. So like it's showing my subscriber count is like 810, but for myself under the thing, it's showing 850. So I'm like 150 away from 1,000, where I can get like actual real super chats and YouTube can actually make money off of me, instead of y'all having to go to Stream Elements and pay me that way, if you want to pay me. But anything over $1 will basically trigger a super chat. And the lovely the lovely AI Bella will read your super chat for you if it's not too spicy. So all of the housekeeping out of the way. I'm just going to check in. Quinton, if you're ready to come in, just give me a thumbs up and I'll bring you in. If you can hear me. Awesome. He is ready. So, without further ado, the guest of the hour, or the guest of the day, I guess, or more of that, Mr. Quinton Flynn, welcome.
Hey.
How are you
Glad to
doing?
be here. How you doing?
Doing well.
I'm doing well.
Awesome.
Just adjusting this fantastic setup.
No problem. Yeah, you're looking great
How's,
today.
the audio okay?
Yeah.
Well, thank you. So are you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Grateful to be here, Chris. It's my cameraman.
It's okay.
Roxas.
It's
Roxas,
perfectly
get it
fine.
together.
We're a stream of Boomerang, so this is perfectly in line with what we have here. So it's all good.
Perfect.
The video's on delay. Normal. You're probably hearing the YouTube and not the StreamYards. If that's
I have that muted.
Yeah. Oh, that's so weird.
I just know that you're frozen for me on my camera.
Oh,
you're back live.
Yeah, back live. Live Boomerang here. Yeah. It's so strange because I can kind of hear myself, so I think I'm coming through your computer and not your earbuds. I think you might have muted the YouTube.
That's weird. Let me check that. Well, YouTube's off. How about now?
I can hear you perfectly fine.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. Can you hear me?
I
okay.
hear you.
Almost real time?
I do.
Okay.
I think so. I mean, it's real time to me. Occasionally I hear a delay of myself.
You can hear yourself?
Yeah, a delay echo in the background.
Oh, okay. That must be your YouTube. If you're on Chrome, you can mute the tab. If you right-click the tab on YouTube and you can mute the tab, then it'll probably help you from hearing yourself.
Well, I shut down the laptop, so just the phone now.
Oh, it's just the phone now? Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, first of all, I wanted to introduce you to our fans here. Thank you, Action Toys, for the $1.65. First of all, I wanted to introduce my audience here to you. This is Quinton Flynn, folks. If you're not aware of him, I mean, where have you been? Living under a rock, mostly. But he's been in so much stuff. I'm really, really bad at keeping up with. I'm really bad at keeping up with who voices who and what have you. I know that you voiced Axel and Lee from Kingdom Hearts. I know that you voiced Raiden in Metal Gear Solid. All of that stuff. I took a quick gander over all of your body of work, and I'm like absolutely amazed on some of the stuff that you've done work on. And I have a bone to pick with you, sir. I have a bone to pick with you.
Okay.
Because I recently, as I'm a huge Mass Effect fan, like a really big Mass Effect fan, and I just got the remastered version, and I've been playing. I was playing that like all last week, and I'm getting to the nitty gritty of Mass Effect 3. And sir, I have to say that your voice acting as Kolyet, Krios in Mass Effect 3, absolutely kicked my ass emotionally. First of all, so thank you so much for literally destroying my heart with your voice acting in that game. I'm like honestly amazed because like I had no idea that you did these things. I had no idea that you were like literally such a huge such a huge star in the industry. And again, I'm bad because like I'm bad at paying attention to credits. I'm bad at paying attention to that stuff. Yeah, he did Shadows King. He did. But admittedly, it was the same thing when I found out Vic did a whole bunch of stuff too. So it's not just you. It's not just the fact. But this is one thing that people I don't think really understand is that you voice like your voice is so. You call yourself a chameleon in your bio, and I agree. I mean, like you fit so many different characters, and putting a face to the name at times is at the best of times is difficult. But when we're talking about how you can completely change yourself for different characters, like the the fact that the difference between Axel and Raiden and Colliet and a myriad of the other characters that you played is absolutely phenomenal. But I think this is a part that people really need to understand, and this is why I'm starting out with this. Is because you've touched people's lives in ways that they probably don't even know. And people are judging you on a snapshot of that. And I think that's super unfair. I think that's really terrible that people are choosing to take a snapshot out of a movie to basically write a review on it. So like from all the stuff that I had read before, like I'd done a stream. I've done a stream before where I read over the script from not the script, the I can't remember the transcript. That's the word from the hearing that you had a little while ago, and I did my research into all that stuff and all the things that all the stories that are out there. And I couldn't find anything that was like, that's the be all end all. This person deserves to be on the cross. Couldn't find it. Doesn't exist. And I think that it's really unfair to a lot of people out there that have been listening to your stuff that might not even know that you voiced this person or that person or whatever else, and really have no idea, no insight into your life. Right. So this is a large reason as to why I wanted to have you on the show, why I wanted to talk with you, and why I think it's really important that we kind of tackle these things in a productive manner. But I know I'm all over the place. I'm all over the place right now, and I apologize. But I just wanted to introduce my audience to you a little bit. And yeah, so without further ado, if you wanted to introduce yourself a little bit more as well.
Thanks, Chris. It's great to be here. Gosh, well, I'm grateful for everything you just said, and I'm so happy that Kolia touched you. Interestingly enough, I also played the voice of a vending machine.
Yes.
You remember the vending machine in there? The insane vending machine trying to sell you energy drink that will make your life or take your life. Go and get it. It's fantastic. And those, as a bartender, there are various roles. When they get us for video games, they'll get us for a lead role, and oftentimes they're allowed to have up to 3 characters from us. The same in animation.
That's so
so
cool.
We'll do other incidental roles, and oftentimes, they might list it on our contracts, but when it comes to IMDb, they won't get up there.
Right.
And IMDb started a number of years after my career started. I mean, I started in Los Angeles in 1988. But in terms of animation, video games, anime, things really took off in 1993, although I've been doing voiceover since 91. So, depending on who you talk to, it's a 28 to 31 year career. And it really hit with replacing Nathan Lane as Timon in the animated series Around the World with Timon and Pumbaa.
So cool.
So, that went a crazy casting of casting call of about 100 actors down to 25, down to 8, down to 3, down to me. And I was, pretty green at the time and young and fresh and didn't know what to expect. And suddenly I'm working with Disney and, doing this character and just having the time of my life. It was a real challenge to try to infuse Timon with the spirit of Nathan Lane. Um, you're doing an impression, but you're also bringing yourself to the character. And I've spoken to many people afterwards, over the years at conventions, specifically when I was in New York a few years ago, New York Comic Con, and a couple writer producers came up and said, we loved your version, we loved what you did, and we thought it was fantastic. So I was very grateful for that. And after that, I played the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four in '94. Flame on! And then '96 was The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest, which came from guesting on that series. And new producers came in for season 2 who wanted to honor the original Quest series. And I was fortunate in that the day I was doing some pickups with a dear friend of mine, Canadian actor Michael Benyer, who was the voice of Haji. They said to me, "Hey, while you're here, would you read in some of Johnny's lines?" I said, "Sure." Huge fan since I was a kid watching reruns. I said, "Come on, Dad, let's go find Bandit." "Haji, I think we're in trouble." And on the other side of the glass, I saw them. "Thank you."
Aw.
And of course, as any other actor knows, you think they're going, "That was rubbish, wasn't it?" "Yeah, it really was. Get him out of here. He's starting to stink." "Thank you." And instead, within a few weeks, my agent called me and said, "You're the new Johnny Quest."
That's fantastic.
Mom, So that's where it kind of started in terms of the voiceover world, and gaming came after that. Was Spider-Man and Marvel's Ultimate Alliance? Was Venom and Spider-Man friend or foe? Then was Sheldon, Don Prima, and Sheldon's creation, Super Shell, for My Life as a Teenage Robot for 3 seasons on Nickelodeon. Guested on Animaniacs, Johnny Bravo, Freakazoid, Angry Beavers, all kinds of stuff. There was even a Mad cartoon based on Mad TV where I voiced Tom Cruise. And then suddenly gaming really took off. And I went from this character, Mr. Fossey, on was it Monkey Island? Maybe Treasure Island. I forget.
The Curse of Monkey Island?
To Raiden for the Metal Gear series. Curse of Monkey Island, that's it. Yeah. And I was like, what's this video game voice acting thing? I mean, no one knew at the time. You have to imagine that there was a time before voice acting for games, as we all know. And then they started to get into character development, story development, and which was fascinating, and came Axel. And when I was auditioning for that, the director had directed me on Johnny Quest. And so when I was auditioning, she says, "Quinton, I want you to give me an older version of Johnny. He's not as naive or earnest. You've got that edge, so give him a little edge." So I gave him the edge, made him a little sarcastic, and it was closer to my voice. And that was strange for me because I've been an impressionist and doing impressions since I was 8. So I thought, when you get into character work, that's all you'll ever do. You'll never do anything that sounds like your voice because it's uninteresting. And here we are all these years later where people say to me, "I love your voice." What is my voice? And over time, in life and in acting, as we peel away the layers of the onions as people, if we're doing any work on ourselves at all, they've finally come together and congealed. So now I can be me for auditions and just act instinctively and give them what they're asking for without having to do an impression of somebody else. I'll do variations, just as I did in Guild Wars 2, where I played a Brit who sounds more like Paul McCartney these days, and I've done Sir Paul in a few movies, That's the Thing. And there was also Rex's Rage Spear, give me some mead. And then gosh, games like Minority Report, uh, Star Wars, The Old Republic, and then anime. Suddenly that came about. I had no idea what that was. Created voices for Naruto as Iruka Sensei. I was the original Deira. And then Town for Bleach. Gosh, uh, so many others, hard to count. And and then it's kind of continued with that. And as an actor, you move from one project to another, and the games or the series come out much later. And
Mm-hmm.
by the time they come out and the fans have an opportunity to see them, enjoy them, play them, I'm on to other things that won't be coming out for another 6 months to a year, 2 years, 3 years. Um, and I had a grand successes. So Henry Cooldown in, you know, that game that we all know about, No More Heroes 1 and 2, which brought me to Dublin. And when they asked me to come out to see the crowd, they gave me a standing ovation. Right, just walking out before I even
That's
hit the stage,
fantastic.
and I was, well, what? That usually happens after. But I was so thrilled because they loved my Dublin brogue, and we got to talk about my heritage there. My dad was Irish; his parents came over from Ireland, and I have family there in the east and in the west country, and in northern England and in the south. And I've been all there so many times over the years. We've had so many wonderful reunions. It's been a joy. Um, so I think that kind of gets you up to speed in terms of the gaming, the animation, the
I do.
anime. I've done Scooby Doo in recent years, and then there's narration, and then there are commercials, and then there are industrials, um, all kinds of things that people wouldn't know. Uh, I will just end it with this: the one thing people might know if they watch the Investigation Discovery Channel is I narrated 3 seasons of I Kill for You,
That's
which
so
was really
cool.
gritty, and really cool. On South Park, they call that what do they call that? Um, they call it murder porn. And the biggest demographic,
Well,
I knew that was going to happen. Uh,
it's okay. It's par for the boomer course
yeah,
here.
the biggest demographic are women, and I.
Oh, we lost him. He's on his phone right now, so he'll be back in just a moment. Can we get you back? There we go.
There you go, and there we go, and a lot of friends of mine. Oops, my goodness, I need a camera operator. But number of friends said, "I know your voice," and I said, "I don't know what it would be from." And a dear friend of mine back here, I went to high school with. Her name is Jody. Uh, she said, "Quinton, I love listening to you on I Kill for You. I listen to it before I go to bed every night. It's very soothing." Like,
That would be my
murder is
reaction
soothing?
too.
Okay. Uh, yeah. And it was difficult for me because I'd have to do my homework the night before, and I'd watch the video and I'd read the story, and it was not only compelling but frightening. And they were
Yeah,
real life murders that had been discovered, or they were cold cases. Um, None of us had ever heard of them. They wouldn't be anything famous, but this stuff's happening all the time. And after I'd finish my homework, I'd have to go have a palate cleanser, watch something light. And then getting in the
absolutely.
next day, it was easy because everything was lit, and I'm just working the script, not to picture. And I've got a producer in my headphones who's from New York, great guy, Lloyd Fales, and did that out of Burbank while they were in New York. And so all I'm saying is it's been a journey, while in
That's
between
fantastic.
acting for the stage, doing comedy, doing plays, doing rock and roll music, original covers. Um, just being kind of a hyphenate or a triple threat, as they say. Um,
Absolutely, yeah.
and
And
so just an artist, like all people. I believe all people. I believe all people are artists and all cameras are dysfunctional.
And like I've heard some of your music, and
So there you go. That's
fantastic. Like it's for people who haven't yet. I mean,
you.
I don't know if they can search it out, but it's got this like really nice like vintage feel to it, but it's like a modern vintage, right? Like it's such a unique thing to listen to, and like you can tell that you really feel that you really feel it. Like you're really into your music, you really love it, because it comes through in it. It's really, really nice. People want to hear you sing in the chat.
Yeah, they can. Actually, there are 3 songs out there on all formats. So if you look up my name, you can hear the songs that are out there. And yeah, I did send you some pre-release songs that we're going to be dropping. My producers encouraged me. Mark Danzeisen of Sausage Factory Studios. And I'm working on the art with my wife, Samantha. And we're very excited about it. It's very
That's
cool.
fantastic. Well, and like honestly, just hearing you talk and reminisce about all of this wonderful stuff. I mean, like I see the chat just flying down here with all the people being like, "Oh my God, I remember this, I remember that." You've been such a factor in so many people's lives. Like I don't think that people out there that are latching on to certain narratives and things like that, it's not just for you either, it's for a bunch of other voice actors and a bunch of other things that people really enjoy. They latch on to these narratives, they latch on to these attacks on people, and it's like it's they don't understand how far that people have been reached. Like they don't understand that it goes beyond a person being just being human, right? I mean, everybody makes mistakes, everybody makes poor decisions from time to time. Anybody out there that says that they're perfect, they're lying to you, like 100%. Like the best. I love the quote, life is pain, and anyone that says otherwise is trying to sell you something. That's the way that I look at things, right? It's the way that I look at it. But honestly, it's like,
yeah, you're right.
When we're looking at all of these people that are out here, it's in my experience, this has just been a recent generational thing. This has been in the past 20, 30 years that this has really started to happen, and this is more so seeing because since the inception of of social media. Since the inception of social media.
Keep going.
We've seen this happen more and more and more. And now I haven't done an in-depth study in this. This is just me observing things. But this is people that are looking for the attention. These are people that are jealous that other people are more successful than them and not understanding the process to get there. Because when I was aging out of high school, like when I was like in grade 11, grade 12, my high school started bringing in incentives and bringing in, for lack of a better word, the participation ribbon. Like it was the participation ribbon era that was coming in. And these individuals have been taught for the past 10, 15, 20 years that everybody is entitled to the number one spot. Even if there's only one number one spot, everybody is entitled to it. And that's a problem because we're setting up our society to be failure, right? Out of 100, only one person is going to be number one. And 99 other people are going to be really mad and disappointed because they didn't get number one. When in fact, we should really be like celebrating all of the things that we've been able to accomplish and all of this stuff and use that as inspiration to move forward. And just looking at your body of work, it honestly shocked me when I was looking at it last night because I was just like, holy shit. Like, he's not just Axel. He's not just Raiden, right? He's done like all of these things from small roles to big roles, all of this stuff. And here we are, have a group of people that are acting out of an emotional space, out of a space of being hurt, out of a space of being either jealous or ignorant or what have you. And they're trying to tear down a body of accomplishment instead of you know, being like, okay, well, that maybe person X did something bad once, but that doesn't mean that poisons everything else, right? Because I mean, for the one bad decision we make in our lives 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, is that enough to erase all of the good that's been done as well?
No, no. And really what it comes down to is putting down the magnifying glass and pick up the mirror. I'm not responsible for anyone's happiness or misery, and nobody is responsible for mine.
Absolutely.
I'm responsible for my own happiness or misery. You know, I've had to learn that over the years and the hard way, and especially, well, it just depends on how you've been raised or schooled, and what you've been taught. And if you don't know that, it's a challenge. It's always easy to point the finger. When you point the finger at someone, you got three fingers pointing back at yourself.
Exactly.
Uh, you know, and the thing is, how can I judge you, Chris? I've not walked in your shoes. Uh, you know, it's underneath the anger, the resentment is fear. It's that fight or flight instinct that's as old as time. It's just that, here we are living in a technical revolution, post-industrial revolution. And, people like my parents who grew up under the lash of World War II, really had it bad. And
Absolutely.
they were lucky to hear shows on a radio or read a newspaper. And then this thing called TV came up in the 50s. I digress. There was a time when men and women had to survive with their instincts because they needed to be safe, protect themselves and their family. And the reason that fight or flight instinct is there is because there is a genuine threat, like an animal. It's going to kill you. So you're going to run or you're going to kill it. Well, what are we doing? We're sitting on the internet right now. And anyone who's watching or listening to this right now, look at where your feet are. Look at your head. Do you have a roof over your head? You've got a computer. And we can relate and we can connect like all over the world. It's bizarre. And it's not the norm.
It's
It
definitely
can
not
be a
natural.
good thing, or it can be a bad thing. Yeah, it's not natural. It's not natural. Really, we're doing TV, and I studied that in university and learned how to edit, learned how to shoot with heavy gear and cameras in a studio and in the field. Here, with a camera like the newest iPhone or any newer version, you can create your own films. You can be a movie maker. You can be an editor. If you want, you can be your own star. And I, like you, I have a life outside of this box.
Right?
Um, and I'm just not a social media junkie. I'm encouraged to, um, you know, produce content or release things. But I only do them, especially more recently, when I feel compelled to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a dear friend of mine, Michael Scott, our dear brother, is in the hospital after having two brain surgeries.
Oh,
He's fighting
wow.
for his life, and he doesn't know how much time he has to live after they removed a tumor. He could have 6 months, he could have 6 years, he could have 6 days. He's terrified.
Mm-hmm.
And we've all been there for him, and I put it out on social media for people's good thoughts and prayers, and people have responded in kind. And then on the lighter side, it was Iruka Umino's birthday, or Iruka Sensei. And so let's celebrate it, put it out there. And I received messages from so many people who said, he was not only a mentor, he was a father figure to me. And I've only heard that in recent years, and that's mind blowing. Like I, I can't wrap my head around it because I'm on the inside looking out. But I get it because for me, Gene Wilder, who played Willy Wonka and was in Young Frankenstein.
Fantastic.
Was kind of the ultimate father figure for me. Elizabeth Montgomery, who was on Bewitched, she would be my mother of choice. Even though I love my dear mother. Um, and the Beatles. I wanted to be the Beatles, and I had dreams of being the fifth Beatle. I also wanted to be Jerry Lewis, and he inspired me to do Sheldon. Um, and that is to say that everything I watched inspired and influenced me to do what I'm doing now since I was a child. But I've had to do it in real time, in real places, with real people, and face real rejection. We're talking about the things that I've done, never mind, the thousands of things that I was not selected for. Um, Going back to the topic, though, of instincts, people have instincts run wild if they're not put in check. And, especially with COVID and the lockdown, so many people have gotten worse. And the obsession to connect or disrespect, they're able to try to disable others to get some kind of a dopamine hit that's twisted. It's not
Absolutely.
joyous, and it's empty, and it doesn't last long.
It's
Love
very
is the
much.
answer. That's what everybody wants.
Oh, I agree. And it's very much. I think you hit a really good point that I wanted to hammer home, and that's you went out there and you learned, you took influences from everybody, you saw what was successful, you saw what you enjoyed, what you liked, what aspects of things that you found was entertaining or uplifting or empowering, and you applied that to yourself. Whereas we're seeing now, in the advent of social media, in the age that we are in now, people are seeing those exact same things, and they're considering those threats to them because they're more successful, or they're more endearing than them, or they're more this, or they're more that, and they attack them, and they shut them out, and they don't create anything. Whereas the people that take in that stuff and improve themselves and use that to build themselves up and build others up, they create things, they create lasting impressions. Whereas now we have people who are so desperate to get that like on Facebook, to get that little notification on Twitter, to get those 10 views on TikTok. They are so desperate to leave a footprint, to leave a legacy behind, that they're blind to what actually creates that legacy.
I agree. It's true. It's like there's an expression about the village virus or crabs in the cage. Crabs
Yeah,
instinctively, when a crab tries to crawl out of a cage, they instinctively pull the crab down.
absolutely.
And the village virus, is for anyone. It can be your family of origin, or it can be the place in which you live. Try going outside of it, as I did. I grew up in a small northeastern suburb of Cleveland, and decided I wanted to be an entertainer. And I had three choices: New York City, Los Angeles, California, the primary, or Chicago. They call it the second city, where I knew I'd have to go and eventually move to one of the others. Now, you tell your parents that, and my dad, you know, uh, grew up rather impoverished, uh, to an old school thinking Irish family who came from farms. He was a fireman and an electrician. He knew how to fight. He knew how to work hard to care for his family, to keep a roof over our head, food in our stomachs. And his goal was to get us to university, my brother Bart and I, because he hadn't done that. And no Flynn had ever been to university. Um, so he said to my brother and I when we were kids, he said, boys, you want to go for the long dollar. Mind you, I was about 8 or 9. He said, "Well, you want to go for the long dollar. You want to become a doctor, an engineer, or a lawyer." And in my head, we sat there on the couch, and I went, uh, "Well, I've seen that on TV, but I don't know what it means."
Mm-hmm.
To me, an engineer was a guy who ran a train. Uh, uh, a doctor was, Dr. Kildare or Marcus Welby. These are arcane references, but you could use someone from Chicago Hope, or oh gosh, you know, the other one that's in my head begins with an H. Um, he was in Stuart Little. He was the father. Uh,
Oh shoot! I think someone in the chat
Someone
might
will
know.
write it in the chat. I know.
Yeah.
But and then a lawyer. Okay, Al Pacino in And Justice for All. You're out of order. You're out of order.
House.
Or Perry
House.
Mason, which was on reruns as I was a kid.
You,
So
Laurie.
that's the only way I could really. I didn't know anybody in real life who did that stuff. So the gap for me was gigantic. All I knew is I knew how to sing songs that we did with the family, play guitar, um, create art. We started drawing since we were kids, crafting, painting. I would say that, the artist's life chose me and this career. I didn't choose it. Um, Other friends of mine did what my dad said. They were going to university and said, I'm going to study business or I'm going to study law. I want a safe, secure future. And I'd say, well, what about art? And they'd be like, huh?
Yeah.
So there you go. And the journey of an artist, as we know, up, down, all around. There's
Mm-hmm.
no one gives you a guidebook.
No.
Then the internet hits. No one gives you a guidebook on how to operate on the internet. Then you become a talent that people recognize, and they come and tell you what impact you've had on them, and you go, me? I don't know how to respond to it. I almost go like, I don't believe it. How can it be? Because I don't see it. I'm not living their lives.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to go, okay, they're having the same experience I had when I was growing up, and I was listening to the Eagles in Boston, and I was reading liner notes, or I was watching Spider-Man, the reruns, or I was watching Scooby-Doo. And I remember I went to like a car convention when I was a kid, and we saw Leonard Nimoy
Oh wow.
in Star Trek, and I was mind blown. I saw Anson Williams from Happy Days, who played Potsy, and really Happy Days was that '70s show was just like Happy Days, and the Goldbergs
Exactly.
was like that '70s show. So that was my experience, the closest thing I could relate to, and I went, oh, okay. But the weirdest thing for me is like, well, how can you relate or be inspired by the voice acting? And then I thought, well, wait, James Earl Jones, my God, Darth Vader,
Absolutely.
Sam Elliott. You hear his voice, and even if you don't know him, you know it. So yeah, anyway, I've gone off on a tangent.
No worries.
All of that to say, when I hit Hollywood, I had no one to go to. I had no one waiting there to put me in. There was I was not a member of any um, famous family. I was not a Sheen. I was not a Kardashian. Um, I was not a Coppola. So had to make my own way and just went with faith and a lot of hard work. And they say faith without works is dead. Uh, Fear is just faith who hasn't said their prayers. And we can't sit around. We got to take action, and make something happen, become something, become a part of. Um, and my goal is to do that and be a part of instead of apart from. And I can tell you that when I walk into a room, no matter where it is, whether it's an audition or a family gathering, if it's something new, I'm as frightened as anybody else on the first day of school. But I do it anyway. And then the fear starts to dissipate when we speak from the heart to one another. We focus on the commonalities, not the differences. like this goddamn camera. So there you go.
I
Yo,
think,
motherfucker, what's going on? This is Doughboy, bitch.
I think that the camera is like a
Fucking
perfect
camera
microcosm.
shit. Holy fuck.
Because like honestly, what you're saying is like 100% true. It's you're like, I mean, just using the camera as an example, right? Ever that you're coming across amazingly well, and then the camera, something beyond your control, just starts to flop and fall around. But this is the beauty that is life, right? Like this is the color that is it's everywhere when you look at it, right? People nowadays are so streamlined and funnel visioned that they don't notice the greater orchestra around them, right? They don't notice the greater things around them, because we're all staring at our phones, right? We're all staring at our devices. We're taking that little snapshot box, that little tiny thing, and we're not paying attention to everything else that's going on. And we talked about this briefly offline. These people that are out there trying to tear people down instead of trying to create, because there's a very clear oil and water situation going on here. There's a large swath of people who are creators, who are successful, who go out and build people, who go out and build things and build, ideas and build the future. And there's a large group of people that are the polar opposite, that go out there and tear down and destroy and attack and do nothing but try to just absolutely take that away. And the only thing that I could find that correlates between both of them is because we haven't seen this in any point in history outside of very, very small things, but we haven't seen it on such a grand scale until we started getting into social media. Oh, we lost Quinton. He'll be back in a second. Until we had the advent of social media, until we had the things like, oh, there he goes. We got him back. Until we had those things show up and have people have instant access to reinforcement, gathering together with people and that share the same like mind, which I think is great. It's a fantastic thing. I really wish that these individuals would put this effort into building things instead of trying to tear people down. I think there's a lot of energy there, but like you said, it's like it comes down to fear. It comes down to faithlessness, and I find so much inspiration. I know a lot of people take inspiration from books or stories or novels. I take inspiration from like movies, from video games, because those are just long form stories, basically long form books that you kind of play through and you have that connection to. But we've had this discussion offline too, and it's like when you look at the characters that you voice, right? If you look at the characters' journeys that you yourself have been involved with, that people that ingest that content, that they play that video game or they read that book or they watch that anime series or what have you, they ingest that content and they go on that journey as well. And it's for yourself being able to give life to that, for yourself being able to give emotion to that, because you're basically going in and saying, okay, like when I was writing, I'm just going to go on a side tangent just briefly. When I was writing my novel, which I'm still writing, it's taking forever, but we'll get there eventually.
Cool.
I would do dialogue like in my own head, right? I would have the conversations between the characters in my head because I don't write normally. I'm a bit weird when it comes to this stuff, but I do that to get into the mindset. Like, what is this person feeling? How would they react? How would this and that and whatever else? And by doing that, you kind of go through their journey as well, right? When you're creating a character, for people who create original characters, for people who go out there and say, well, how can I adapt? Like you're saying, how can I adapt someone else's character, like someone else voiced Timon, or if I go in, how can I adapt Johnny Quest? I adapt them and I put them in there and I take in that person's emotions and I process it. I'm going through their journey as well. So as a side tangent, that aside, We also talked briefly about how a lot of these individuals don't see the same sky that we do. Like they look up, like we look up and we see the clouds, might see the moon, might see the sun, might see blue, what have you. These people look up and they see something completely different. And I don't know how we got there, but we're here. And this is a reality that we have to live with now, because we're having two sets of realities clashing against each other, and that's only getting worse.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. The polarization that has gone on in the last number of years has been absurd. And it's crazy to me, uh, what we see. And I mean, I can even see it in my friends and family. There's black and white thinking. It's all or nothing.
Absolutely.
They're pitting people against one another. Folks are drinking the Kool-Aid. They're buying the bumper sticker bullshit, and they're regurgitating it. These are not original thoughts. There's no critical thinking.
No.
Yeah, and the thing is, I heard it when I was in Los Angeles, and then I'd fly to Chicago or Cleveland. I sat down to lunch with a friend of mine who's about 70, who's been in the show business as a manager for about 50 years. And what came out of his mouth was, it was just a news soundbite, of negativity. And I thought, I just heard that from my friend in Los Angeles. The same thing.
Absolutely.
It's universal. It's fear-based and it's judgmental, and they have no real life experience with it. It's gossip. Character assassination is a polite form of murder, and gossip is murder, and it's bullshit, where give me some truth, give me some love, like take some action. John Lennon and Yoko Ono in the early 70s were doing that kind of thing, and they were putting it out there, and people just shit all over them in the press. Well, people do that now daily, whether it's usually through Twitter, or it can be on any of the major news networks. And everybody can create a channel, and it's happening, and there's fragmentation, and there's anger. Why? Because no one has to go out and actually deal with fight or flight. And people are retreating. And this becomes their world. And, it's insanity. As you mentioned, we got to stop and smell the roses. We got to go see our neighbor. Back, I remember at one point, Bono, who I'm not always a fan of, and some of the folks he was running with in maybe the late 80s, the big, bumper sticker was, think globally, act locally. Huh. How about this? Think locally, act locally. Like, clean up your own garbage. Look in your own backyard. Don't go into your neighbors. What the fuck?
And now we're living in a world where governments are encouraging people to turn over their neighbors, to attack each other, to call out things, like to a degree. Like if there's somebody on the street that has a knife to somebody's throat, right? Fine, I have no problem trying to step in if it's not going to cause harm to the person. But if we're talking about two people having a disagreement, like, I don't know if you've ever seen the video of the two gentlemen on the street, and it was probably somewhere in Europe, where they started flipping each other off. It was hilarious, but we're being told now that we should be stepping in and stopping that. We should be like tackling them to the ground and throwing away the key because they could potentially be violent. Like, why? Where has the sense of humor gone? First of all, like, where has the sense of realism gone? Because there's a very clear difference between an immediate threat and someone just being an asshole. And if being cut by a knife is the exact same as being cut by somebody's words, That is not a society issue. That's a personal issue that the person feeling that needs to come to terms with. They need to deal with that. And I don't know where along the lines in the past 15 to 20 years we got to where we can't even vent opinions. We can't even voice displeasure with people anymore. Like, without either having to call them some kind of catchphrase or some kind of buzzword because they disagree with us, or without like completely trying to destroy them because we're mad about something. It doesn't make sense. Like the rationale behind that, right? I understand disappointment. I've been disappointed many, many times. I've been in situations where I've been physically assaulted. I've been in situations when I've been mentally assaulted. I've been in situations where I've had my feelings hurt. Everybody has. The point here is like we're kind of losing touch with the severity of things, right? It's people were so worried about, video games and television desensitizing violence and blah blah blah. That's not the case. I can watch a Denzel Washington film and understand that that's fiction, but there are certain people out there that think that's a documentary.
Right. No, you're right. I mean, I know there's a particular film he did that I thought was terrific. He played an airline pilot who was drunk, right?
Yeah.
But he still righted the plane, and he saved a lot of lives, went through a lot of hell, and went through recovery. But I know that Denzel Washington is not a airline pilot with a drinking problem. I know he didn't destroy an airplane unintentionally.
Give it 10 years and someone out there might say he did.
I think you're right. What we're talking about here, is the hero's journey. Joseph Campbell writes about that. If people out there are not familiar with Campbell, I recommend you read him. And what you said about my characters with Ryden and Axel, they're flawed. It's a hero's journey.
Exactly.
It's
They're
not
not
good
perfect.
and bad. It's not like the sheriff and the bad guy who rolls into town. It's there's combinations of all for all of us. And speaking of the video you mentioned, sure, if there's a guy flipping off one guy and a guy flipping off another, and perhaps I didn't see it, but it sounds like it could have been a comedic thing. And today people think, well, that must be a hate crime. Put them away. On the other side, I just saw a tremendously disturbing video where this one woman was beating the shit out of another woman in a restaurant, fast food restaurant. 3 guys were around with video cameras, video recording it as this woman dragged this woman out into the street, kept smashing her head with her fist and stepping on it. No one stepped in to do anything. And that was a time for people to take action.
Absolutely.
And it was, it was put on the web, and I was baffled. And that's how people are desensitized. Now, that's insanity. That is
desensitization.
It's animalistic. Where did that come from?
It's because a lot of it was because the people have never had to deal with this stuff. It doesn't seem real to them. I remember growing up in high school, very vividly to this day. There was one kid, and I grew up in the time when being gay was not an accepted thing, not a very openly accepted thing at all. There was a kid, probably was like 16, 17. Like, I was young. I was like 14. I was like 15 at the time. I was young. I remember distinctly that there was a rumor going around that this kid was gay. That was the rumor. It wasn't that he R-worded somebody. It wasn't that he anheroed somebody. Just that he was gay. And there was a group of fully grown adults, 17, 18, 19-year-olds, that showed up at the high school, dragged him out in the parking lot, and beat the living shit out of him, to the point where literally one of the teachers, this happened before school started, one of the teachers saw this, ran outside and was ripping people off of this kid. And like I'll remember that till the day that I die. because that right there was so many people around that were just staring, because this was before we all had phones to take videos. People were shocked. They had no idea what was going on. You had a group of people that were actively trying to kill somebody in the street. Over what? Over nothing. No. And like, I remember that teacher, a younger guy, I think he probably was in his 30s, ran out there and was literally ripping people off of him. Got the police out there. This generation, I don't know if they've had to deal with this stuff. But like to have that reaction of your first reaction of seeing someone getting attacked or in a fight is to take out your phone. Yeah. Like there's been countless times, like I saw, like I've been walking through the park locally here, and like I do Pokemon Go, all that fun stuff, but I'm like walking through the park catching Pokemon, and I see this guy on the ground, and he's like, I have my headphones on, and he's calling for help, and I'm like, look over, and I take off my headphones. He's got a guy in a headlock. The guy's like shirtless and bloodied, and he has this guy in a headlock, and he says this, and he's like calling for help. No one in the park at all is helping him. And I just literally notice him, and I take my headphones off, I come over, and I call the police. Because this man, the guy that was in the headlock, just smashed a beer bottle over the guy's head. And the guy was like bleeding, and no one was helping him. And it was literally in the middle of the day. Literally middle of the day. And like, no rhyme or reason. So I don't know why we've gotten to this point in society where even just doing the right thing doesn't exist anymore. We would sooner make a tweet about it first before helping them, before stepping in, before going to the authorities. This is why I've always talked about this stuff. Oh yeah, and happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody.
Absolutely.
Happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody. But what I always talk about this stuff because like it's so frustrating. Because like I know, and I bring this up a lot, and it's not for pity points, so people please don't pity me. I was a victim of sexual assault when I was young, when I was 18. I was drugged by a good friend of mine, who I thought was a good friend of mine. He put I think it was some kind of sleeping drug or something into my drink, and woke up the next day in the bed, no clothing. And I'd been told many times that he's done this to other people, and I just kind of brushed it off, and I was ashamed at the time, so I never reported it. And I always blamed myself for not reporting it, because I could have at that point gone to the police and gotten that taken care of so he could not do that to anybody else, and I chose not to. So it's willful. It's my own choice that I carry that burden with me, because I don't know if he ever got reported. I don't know if he ever saw justice. Part of it was selfish because I didn't ever want to see him again. I didn't want to have to go back into a courtroom or a room and identify him and talk to him and hear his side of it, and then potentially be ruled against. That was selfish on my part. So for people out there that are going to come at me for my work for defending Vic, for defending yourself, Quinton, for defending other people, and say that I'm a sympathizer, say that all of that other stuff, whatever hurtful thing that they think is going to hurt me, which y'all can't hurt me. Been there, done that. Y'all can't hurt me anymore. Just say that.
Yeah.
They're going to say all that stuff. The fact of the matter is, I 100% had the chance to put an end to that immediately, and I chose not to. So when people are out there and they have an active chance to stop something or prevent something from happening, and they choose not to, that's why I advocate all the time. I don't care if you don't like the police. I don't care if you don't like lawyers. I don't care if you don't like your principal. I don't care if you don't like your parents. If shit is happening to you, you have that choice. Now, is it the right choice or the wrong choice to make a report at the time? Who knows? That's a choice that you have to live with. And to see all of these people out here that are making accusations against Johnny Young Bosch, Todd Habercorn, Vic Mignogna, yourself, insert random voice actor here who's literally done nothing wrong. Years later, after people coming out and not only agreeing to it, but like planning and goading things on, like asking for a hug, asking for a kiss, asking for a photo, asking for, will you sign this weird fanfic picture of mine? And then 10 years later, all of a sudden, that's not okay.
Yeah.
That is not okay. Because if you were fine at the time, and then you look back at it and say, well, that was a decision I didn't like. That was your decision to make. That's not the fault of the person. Now, do I think that my situation, do I think it was the fault of the person? I mean, absolutely. He decided to put drugs in my drink and do what he did. Is it also my fault for not reporting it? Absolutely. Does that make what he did right? No, it didn't. And again, I'm not gonna name names because it's years later, and I don't want to be a hypocrite about things. I made my bed a long time ago with that situation. Now, do I say that people should never speak up ever about these things? No. I think people should speak up about these things, but they should also be prepared to show evidence of these things as well. If they want to talk about their bad decision or their regret or what have you, they have to talk about that as a bad decision or regret. They can't turn that around. They can't change history and say, well, I agreed at the time, but now 20 years later, I don't agree with it. So it's their fault now. No.
Right.
That's part of growing up. That's part of learning. That's part of being a human being. And I know it's kind of gone off on a tangent here.
but you're right. I mean, everyone has a part to play.
Yeah. Everyone has their own.
We all, I put myself in positions in life that later caused me to be hurt. I was, beaten brutally in high school by who was considered a bully and his crew. The guy had 100 pounds on me. He had a resentment against me. And there was no talking to him. That messed me up. I was molested when I was working at a video store. And I didn't even know it at the time. And when I kind of came to, I was shocked. I was frightened. I was embarrassed. Both situations, I didn't say anything to anyone who could help me because I was frightened.
Yeah.
Okay. But at the same time, in those situations, I didn't speak up for myself. I was a doormat. And it's taken me years of recovery through therapy.
Absolutely.
Through self-help. Through different 12-step groups. And working with others to give away the solution. To those who want it, they take it and then they do it, and people work together in community, in harmony. And I pass it along for fun and for free for those who suffer some of the same ills if they want it. These are but suggestions. There are no rules. I am no president. I'm a guide. I'm not in charge. I'm nobody's doctor. I'm nobody's father. I'm nobody's God. And none of the other people who have helped me, whether it's in a paid professional or somebody who's working for free.
Absolutely. Now, there's a few people that are chatting to you there on the YouTube chat.
I can hear you out of my one ear. Let me see if I can get this back up.
All right, how's that?
Hello? I hear you in my right ear now. I don't know what the hell's going on. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly fine. Yeah.
Crazy.
Technology.
But, we learn from these things, I think is what you're saying.
We do.
And we grow. We don't.
We have two choices, right? We have two choices. I mean, like, in this lobby right now, between you and me, it's clear that we both took the choice to learn from that and adapt and move on and make the changes. But there's a lot of people out there that experience disappointment and they can't take the ownership of it, or they refuse to, and they build up this separate reality where rules don't apply to certain things, but they apply to others. They do this, and I think it's a self-defense mechanism, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it's because, like, these people, they literally can't come to terms with something traumatic that happened to them. Either I say traumatic as a wide angle of the word, as wide as the angle of the word as possible, from, like, you know, getting punched in the face all the way down to not getting a puppy for Christmas. Like, those can both be traumatic. And like it really depends on how we choose to move forward from them. We're making choices all the time, right? We make choices every single day.
Sure.
And all those choices have impacts on other things. But I think it's very clear that, you know, like, we went through shit. We grew from it. I mean, like, I'm not 18 anymore, obviously. But, like, who I was when I was 18 to who I was to when I was 20 to who I was when I was 22, who I was to when I was 25. Like, you could write an entire, like, 7 different series, because I was a different person every single year. Like, we're not really settled into who we are until late 20s, in my opinion. I mean, maybe not even then. People mature at different rates. Like,
Sure.
I grew up. I had to grow up fast because I was on my own at 15, and so, like, I had to mature quickly. But I like to think that I had all of these excuses that I could fall back on to be a terrible fucking human being. And, like, I look at it and it's like, well, that doesn't feel right. And, like, I understand there's a lot of people out there that they look at stuff and it's like, well, I've been hard done by. The world has done this to me. And it's a really youthful way of looking at it, in my opinion. Like, it's a younger mindset of, like, well, these things are being inflicted on me. I have no choice. Well, okay, that's great. You have a choice of how you react to that, though. Like, you're put into a situation. You don't have a choice of what situation you're put into. You could be born in Canada, or you can be born in the Ukraine. Those are 2 different situations. You don't really have a choice over it. But that's the hand you're dealt, and you can only do so much with the hand that you're dealt, right? If you're born in the middle of a war zone, as opposed to being born in a first world country, like, those are 2 huge different things. Those are things that are inflicted on you. But how you choose to live your life, how you choose to make the path for yourself, that's what defines you. And that's one thing that the youthful thinking don't really get. They're just like, well, it's over. You know, I had this bad thing happen to me. I can't do anything now. Well, okay. Your house of sticks blew down. Okay, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to stare at it? Are you going to build it back up? Are you going to use it for a fire? Like, what are you going to do? It's something that really only comes with experience. And it's forged in a harder experience, which I think a lot of people that grew up without the advent of technology and things like that had to like, literally, like, go work on the farm, go start working at a job at 13, 14. Like, those people get it quicker than others because they're forced to.
Sure. Well, you don't, yeah. I mean, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah, it's true.
So, the other thing is, as you said, we learn from our mistakes. And the thing I can tell you is that forgiveness is key.
Yes.
You know, when I work with others and I have mentors who say, you know, Quinton, look, that's not happening today. You have to let go of that resentment. You have to let go of that hurt, that pain. You can't control this person, place, or thing. Let me ask you something. Was there any good in that situation or relationship? Whether it be romantic, platonic, family, professional, was there any joy? Did you have any fun? Were there any good times? I go, absolutely. Okay, well then how come you're demonizing and vilifying this person? You mentally want to kill them. You want to destroy them. You feel that's the only way that you're. That's insanity. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yep. Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
I can't hear you, but we'll figure that out. Um, that's insanity. You know, um, it's about taking the actions, and moving forward and finding forgiveness in our hearts. And it's not about revisionism. It's not about. Look, there's three things. There's the victim. There's someone who is surviving uh, or thriving. Do you want to thrive? Do you want to survive? Or do you want to stay a victim? Do nothing, make everyone responsible for your shitty life, and cry in your fucking milk
Exactly.
and have a sewing circle of shit, and post it on the internet. Go, he, she, it did this to me. And it's not keyboard warriors, it's keyboard cowards. Come out and talk. You know what I mean? You have you taken a hit? I've taken a hit. I mean a hit. Mentally, emotionally, physically. Get out in life and do that. I mean, this cancel culture is bullshit. And the people that want to, tear people down with guilty until proven innocent. In fact, they don't even want to prove them innocent.
No, they don't.
We have a law that says innocent until proven guilty. But based on my experience and what we've seen, I've lost work. I've been demonized and vilified because why? Because I chose to remain silent, which is one of our rights. And the hardest part was watching all of the slander and libel and gossip and false narratives and manipulation. Just fucking despicable.
Absolutely.
Despicable. And yet I bear these people no ill will. They're hurt. Hurt people. You had a witch hunt. Your torches are out. Your game is over. And like you, I don't give a shit. I'm driving forward. I'm not looking in my rearview mirror. I will when I'm coasting through traffic, but don't look in the rearview mirror and stare too long, or you're going to smash the front of your car. So get on with life. Like you said, what can you contribute? What can we do together? How can we heal and move forward? Don't fucking fold your arms and going, it's you. No, you're wrong. I'm sorry that you think it's me or your teacher or your neighbor or this TV show or this newscaster. Fucking get a life. And I say that in all sincerity, and I also say it with levity. I remember when William Shatner guested on Saturday Night Live, and they did one of the first jokes about conventions, and it was a Star Trek convention, and he was behind the dais, and he was listening to all these absurd questions. This goes back a number of years to the cast, Hartman perhaps, and Chris Farley and David Spade, and Shatner looked at them, and everyone laughed at this joke at the time. He said, people, get a life. And everybody howled. And of course, the people in the audience were not only gobsmacked, but in tears.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, look, it's not trick or treat every day. And you can buy a phaser, but you can only put a battery in it. It doesn't work. And I love Doctor Who, but we can't time travel. I'd love to.
Absolutely. Like, if I could go back and change all the bad decisions, and I say this all the time, 100% earnestly, if I had the opportunity to go back and change all of my past mistakes, I wouldn't do it.
Right.
Because I
Wouldn't have
know
made-
all of those mistakes led me to where I am today, and I am happy with
That's right.
who I am and where I am today.
Absolutely. Yeah, same here. And we all have fear and anxiety. Well, I shouldn't say we all do, but a lot of people do.
Mhm.
You know, and I suffer from it too. And that's when I only allow myself so much time before I recognize it. And then I take a contrary action or make a phone call to someone, see how someone else is doing, do a good deed, and move forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's honestly just watching the entire situation. I've made mention of this before many different times in many different places. Watching what you've gone through and juxtaposing it right next to what Vic is going through. Y'all are both going through something very similar. And the fact that when Vic came out and he said his piece and he took out his lawsuit, he went after people that were attacking him. The number one thing that everybody that was opposing him said, that all he had to do was just sit down, keep his head down, shut up, take his licks, and he'd be back in the industry before he knew it. And you have done that. You have taken that road that was recommended by the same people that are out there bashing skulls in and taking scalps. And they're mad at you for what? Literally, for what? Because you did everything in your power to keep this out of the public eye. You've done everything in your power to be respectful, publicly. You've done everything in your power to not encourage people, to actively discourage people from talking about things. Which the purpose of that is to move on, to leave it in the past, to just say, okay, it's done. But you have the same people that just told Vic and others, all you needed to do is just shut up and it'll go away, digging it back up constantly. They have those same people firing shots constantly because they can't let it go. They can't let it go. And I largely think this has a lot to do because over the past 15, 20 years, the term gaslighting gets thrown around a lot, ironically, because these individuals have gaslighted themselves into believing that this is the reality. And it's such a far stretch. Just today, I found out that my Twitter, my Spotify, my YouTube were all being reported to police departments in Germany and Finland and some other countries because of targeted harassment. Because I put because I edited an anime picture. Targeted harassment. And then the person that reported such things said it was ridiculous that I would talk about that on Twitter. Why would you admit to being reported to the police on Twitter? Because it's a ridiculous situation. Why would you report to the police that someone randomly on the internet took a photo and put a clown nose on it?
Comedy, parody, what the fuck?
This is how far we have gone. There is no common sense anymore.
Is there a copyright on the clown face? Is this a company? Is it a brand?
No. It was a person.
Insane.
It was a person that was mad because I was jabbing, I was poking fun in their direction.
Okay.
And they called that targeted harassment. That they told Spotify. I mean, hats off. Salute to the Spotify rep that has to work Memorial Day weekend and take this lunatic. They complained to Spotify customer service that they were terrified that this podcast was going to go live. It's, I don't know how we get there. I don't know how we get there. I don't know how we get back from it. I think part of it is the bulk of the world needs to wake up and be like, that's stupid.
Right.
Because right now we have companies that are giving into it. We have organizations that are giving it. We saw Gina Carano get completely yeeted off of her projects for nothing.
Yeah.
For literally nothing. Because it wasn't even people can say it was stuff that she said, when it wasn't stuff that she said that got her yeeted. It was stuff that other people had a problem with. And it was people that kicked up a bunch of dirt and dust. And we saw it with you getting removed from your roles. We saw it with Vic.
Two roles.
2 roles. Which is ludicrous.
Absolutely.
Ludicrous.
One company I worked with for 15 years, the other one probably over a 10-year span. The work was done on No More Heroes in 2019. They told me to promote it in 2020, not to be released now till August of 2021. And suddenly in the last, couple of months, they decided to replace me. No one decided to ask me what's going on. Let's have a conversation. There's 2 sides to every story. Instead, they bought this false narrative by a mentally ill person who gaslit not only me, but the crew of people that she contacted who decided to climb on board that ghost ship. You know, I have so many people who contacted me, folks that I followed, folks who followed me, friends, peers, fans, family members who said, this person was really trying to do a number and create some bizarre story and false narrative. Yeah. It's called gaslighting, you know, and it was devious. And who has 24 hours of time, 7 days a week for 4 to 5 months to try to destroy a person's life? I even had one friend who drank the Kool-Aid, bought it, and tried to destroy me in the process. You know, it turns out that all of that work that was done and created against me, it didn't happen overnight. It happened over a couple of years.
Yep.
This was a person with a vendetta,
a slow burn,
a vengeance, a hate goal. And Twitter did nothing about it.
Yep.
They were reported thousands of times because so many of these messages went against community standards. They did nothing.
Yeah.
And it was disgusting. But everyone bought the false. I can't say everyone. A small group of people bought the false narrative. Those on board and other people on the internet who don't have a life.
Exactly.
Who said, that's got to be true. Oh, he's a disgusting pervert. What? Do you know me? Because that's not me.
Yeah.
You know, it comes down to someone saying, poor me, fuck you, where's mine? And it's never enough.
It's never enough.
I can't give you enough. Nobody can give you enough. No one's going to give you what you want. What do you want? You want an apology? No, you don't. You want love. What else would you like? Would you like money? Is that going to help? No. What you want is 15 minutes of fame for doing absolutely nothing except trying to destroy another person's character, family, and career. It was devastating
100%.
to have to live with that. And it's hard trying to crawl from the wreckage because of it. And the lies and the deceit and the cowardice of these people, they've achieved heights I'd never imagined. And it's going on all the time. And it's gross. And it's not helpful. It's not helping them in their lives.
It does nothing.
They're not getting anywhere with it. I hope they get help. I hope they get happy. I hope they find what they want. find the career that they want, find the life that they want, find the help that they need, find the person they're in love with, like I did. I found my best friend in love and married. Why? Because it was right. When your heart says it's right, you better listen to what it's saying. I'm a seeker, and I've been a seeker for years. I've had my heart broken many times. I've been blown off more times than I can count. But it's just like a job interview, as I was talking about with acting. It's about selection and not rejection. But when I was a victim, I used to say, I've been rejected again. They didn't pick me. Who did they pick? Screw him, screw her. Until I realized, no, it's about selection, not rejection. And if another person gets selected, it's because they're right. It's not because I'm wrong. So move on. Put the focus on something else and find a way to be grateful for that person and for yourself that it didn't happen, because chances are, one door closes, another one opens up.
Absolutely.
And that's how we grow. We grow or we go.
100%. And it's just like you're saying, we can be so wrapped up because we didn't get that one thing, or we didn't get that one position, or we didn't get that one job, but it just wasn't the right time for it. There's
Right.
times for things, because there could be like, you get passed over at work for a promotion, but you also, like, 2 months later might have a better opportunity in a different city that if you took that promotion, you wouldn't have been able to take it. Like,
Yeah.
there's ways to go through it, and there's ways to look at it that can be hard luck, poor me, or you can take the failure, you can take the rejection, you can take the not getting what you wanted, take that disappointment and turn that into something. If everybody ever stopped at the first time they got rejected, I mean, we wouldn't have like we wouldn't have what's his name, Dwayne the Rock Johnson. We wouldn't have a Kobe Bryant, rest his soul.
Right.
We wouldn't have superstars. We wouldn't have movie stars. We wouldn't have politicians.
So, and then sometimes it would be nice if we didn't have politicians.
Oh, I wish we did.
Oftentimes people say rejection is God's protection. Whatever your concept of a higher power is. And also, people come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Absolutely.
Are there people I wish were still in my life? Absolutely. Are there people that sometimes pop into my brain that I let live rent free, who upset me? Yeah. And then I recognize it and go, okay, it's time to let that go. And if that means talking about it with a closed mouth friend, or journaling about it, or praying it away, or getting out into nature, taking a walk, doing something nice for someone, or getting creative, then that's what it takes. It takes action.
Absolutely.
My action for me, not against you, and it's taking that leap of faith, and if you feel the fear, do it anyway. After seeing your show and connecting with you and finding out what a brilliant person you are, with such a good heart, so much knowledge of the law, and on the same page with me as far as psychology. I don't have a degree. I'd love to hang a shingle. I've been told that many times. I've studied it for 25 years. I found a kindred spirit in Canada.
Absolutely.
Toronto. And I love Canada, and I love Canadians, and I know I'm older than you, but growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, where the rock and roll capital, our radio stations played loads of Canadian music. And as you know, I don't know if it's still going on, but there had to be Canadian content. That was a law.
Yeah.
And I got to see so many groups from the late 70s through the 80s, the 90s, into the 2000s from Canada. Everyone from Rush and Triumph, To the Odds, Kim Mitchell, Guess Who, Platinum Blonde, Bryan Adams. I mean, I was a Bryan Adams rock and roll fan on his first 2 albums. The only thing people seem to know him from is, I think, the ballad he wrote for Robin Hood. But all of that to say, too, some of my favorite comics came from Canada. SCTV.
Absolutely.
You know, Kids in the Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Cleveland and Toronto aren't that far apart, and we've got the Great Lakes around in between us. And there's something about growing up in the 4 seasons, especially the winter.
Yes.
You know, we've got that edge, that sarcasm, that willingness, you know, that honest, open-minded willingness to take action and to take the piss out of one another, which is a British expression, but I know you know it. And when I moved to Los Angeles, man, they didn't get the edge. They didn't get the dry humor.
No.
And then when I ran into a Canadian friend or a guy from Cleveland or possibly Chicago, we all got along. We all got it. You know, we weren't too sensitive. We were, you know, we found that the way to show our affection for one another was oftentimes giving out.
Yeah.
You know, giving each other shit. And after spending so much time in California, when I came back to visit here in Los Angeles, or back in Cleveland, and I started another band, one of the guys started hammering me with comments, and I was so sensitive. And he said, "What is wrong with you?" I said, "No, what's wrong with you? You're mean." And he said, "And you're soft. Lighten up. I love you. You've lost your Cleveland edge." And Much Music. I'm sorry. I'm just going off on a Canadian tangent right now.
Go right ahead.
Matthew Good Band.
Yes.
Hello, Time Bomb. And if you don't know that song, look it up, listen. But I used to watch Much Music when I'd come back here for the holidays. So yeah, Canada. Yeah, baby.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate all of that. I 100% agree. I mean, it's,
yeah.
I wanted to touch on one thing that I did notice that seems to be like a key line between a lot of these different things. Now, I don't know for a lot of these voice actors that are getting thrown under the bus here, what their religious lines are. But you yourself are a man of faith. Vic Mignon is a man of faith. Now, I'm a dirty pagan. I'm a nature worshipping pagan. So
hey, nothing wrong with that, man.
Nothing wrong with that.
The Celts were pagans, weren't they?
Absolutely. And my family is from Ireland, so I wish I could trace it back. Unfortunately, my grandfather came over from Ireland. He was one of the orphans that was over in Newfoundland, so we don't know the family lines. But a majority of my family is from Ireland, so like it kind of goes back to my roots. But
well, that's part of our culture: telling stories, singing songs, great dry humor,
absolutely,
and a survival instinct, survive and thrive.
Absolutely, and we make it work. We make it work. But I'm seeing that people are attacking and going after faith-based voice actors, and it's such a weird thing because like you see. Like in yourself, I can see like the jubilance. I can see the life. I can see the enjoyment of everything that you're taking in. And like I respect religion, although I might not walk the same path. I can respect the lessons that are handed down. You know, like all of these different things. Like when I talked to Vic when he came here. For Comic-Con, when we had him, had a very unique opportunity to have just a heart-to-heart with him about all of this stuff. And I always told him, and like I'll tell you and like I'll tell anybody, is that, you know, from everything that I've heard, your God always tells you, like your teachings always tell you, that God will never give you more than you can handle. Now, he may test you, he may push you, you may feel like you're going to break, but you're never going to have more than you can handle.
Yeah.
And I really do think that there's a lot of people out there that are trying to test that. And I've known,
and they are.
I've known people, I've known really, really good people that have lost that fight. There was one individual that was working on our convention with us for a number of years. Very good friend, very good person. And he would give the shirt off his back in the middle of winter to anybody who asked for it. Nicest person on the face of the planet. And he ended up losing his fight after he just couldn't take it anymore. He saw the ugliness for one too many times, and he was too tired to continue.
Yeah.
He would go out with he didn't care like what group you came from, if you were rich, if you were poor, if you were homeless, if you were what have you. He'd go out and hang out with you. He'd go out for tacos. He'd pay for your dinner, what have you. And the one day that he went out, he got brutally attacked by what he thought was his friends. Got punched in the mouth, had his front row of teeth broken because they were using brass knuckles. Broke his front row of teeth because they thought he took their money. They thought that this person who would literally go into debt to buy someone lunch, put himself out, like not go and eat for days to make sure other people could. They thought he took their money and didn't talk to him, didn't ask him, just went out and punched him across the face, broke his front row of teeth. He got home. He had painkillers. Couldn't find his wallet, and that was the breaking point. He decided that was enough. He was tired. He made a video apologizing, and that was enough. And the sad part was they found his wallet under his couch. So, I always talk about this because it's one of those things. It's like these individuals online and people like them, very much the same.
Yeah.
They don't have any regard. It's selfishness. It's over nothing. Grand scheme of things, over nothing.
Yeah.
Like, put them in the situation, like you said earlier, your friend is in the hospital right now. Like, this shit doesn't matter compared to that.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, it should be a reminder for people. Like, anytime you hear about stuff, we're here for a very short period of time, and the fact that we come across each other across the globe is a freaking miracle.
It's a gift.
It's a gift. And we are here for a snapshot of time. And there's so many people out there that choose to squander it. And it's really a sad thing. I do feel sorry for them.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm very happy that I can at least connect with people such as yourself. Because I saw so much in the way that we were interacting, in the way that we were talking. I saw so much of the fear and almost, I wouldn't say that you believed what they had said, but it started to get to you.
Yeah.
And honestly, just the fact that all of the stuff that you've done, all of the good that you have done can be undone in an instant. I mean, shame on the companies that decided to walk away from you. Shame on them. Shame on the people that know the truth and are consciously choosing to lie about it. Shame on them. Like, these are things that are going to follow you. And I know like, for some people, that's going to follow you to the day that you die. It's going to follow you to Judgment Day. For some people, it's going to follow you until the next life. that stuff stains your soul. And I, for one, am happy. I'm grateful, first of all, that I had a chance to talk with you. That is absolutely amazing. And the fact that we've actually been able to have some sort of like level ground here to kind of chat on, and just kind of get points across. And I'm grateful for that opportunity. And I know people in the chat right now, 100% behind you. There's like so many people out there that are rooting for you, and others like you. And there's so many people that will see this situation that you've been in, that are in that situation currently, or that will be in that situation, and they'll at least know that there's an other side to this. They'll know that they don't have to be tired. There's a way out of it.
Thank you. I'm grateful to be here with you, and I'm grateful for whatever comments the folks have put up that you're seeing, and any
lots
support.
of positivity for you.
Identification and love, and hopefully vindication. It's because I went through those same thoughts that your friend had who acted on them. Despair, a lack of control, going to others for help who couldn't help, but taking the suggestions of those in the legal profession who said, as we discussed, do nothing, say nothing, lay low, it'll pass. And only when it didn't pass, did we take action, because we had to. It reminded me of growing up, where I let others hurt me, and I was a doormat. And finally, between myself and my wife and a couple of other dear friends who are on my team and in my corner, who know who they are, we said no more. We went through the legal system. It was suggested I do that by my oppressor, who boasted that they would have an incredible team. And I quote unquote lawyered up. We went to court, and the judge found in favor of us.
Absolutely.
Because he was of sound mind and saw the truth. And the truth needs no defense.
I 100% agree. I've said that 100 times. I was able to basically talk a friend down from the edge, because he was very much in the same situation too. People they just keep talking. They just don't stop. There's no recourse. Like, well, what do you do? It's like, well, when you take the truth, it doesn't need anything. It doesn't need any dressing. Doesn't need any salt. Doesn't need any pepper. It's the truth.
Yeah.
And if you boil the truth down so it can fit in your pot, then it ain't the truth anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of these individuals are doing, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I commend you for standing up for yourself. 100%. Commend you for standing up for yourself, because that not only served you. Like, I know you said that your actions aren't for anybody else, but 100% that will help others. That will.
No, I was just saying, I'm not responsible for anybody's happiness or misery.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you're right. I will say that we serve as an example. Yeah. I serve as an example to others who hopefully, if they are in any kind of a predicament and have listened to anything I've said or you've said today, will know that there's hope.
Absolutely.
And that they're not alone. We're not alone.
100%. That is fantastic. Well, I don't want this to be an entirely downer of a stream interview.
Yeah.
I think now is a good time to flip over to anything like that you wanted to talk about, like any projects that you're working on, anything that you're excited to work on right now.
Well, as I mentioned before, well, there is an animated film I worked on, but I can't talk about the title. That will be coming out. I'm very excited about that. And the music, that's near and dear to my heart. I don't have an LP, but I have 2 singles, maybe one song shy of an EP that we're going to be releasing, and that makes me very happy. And my producer very happy, and those who are close to me very happy. I was encouraged by a friend who's also a fan, who said, I got to know you through your music back in the MySpace days. I'd forgotten about MySpace, and I said, oh, really? Yeah, I love it. You do? Because many of us think so less of ourselves or so little of ourselves. I mean, I'm harder on myself than anybody else. And I thought, I don't know what you heard, but okay, maybe I'll give it a release. Maybe I'll just, instead of, what is it they say? Perfectionism is the enemy of good enough.
Yes.
And it's more than good enough to go. Just get it out there and see how it touches others. And that will be inspiring to do more. There's a friend of mine, Robbie Rist, who always says, create art. Put it out there, do art, create art. And that's for anyone. So that's what I'm excited about. I'm also, looking into doing audiobooks. Kind of interested in that. I think it would be fascinating. And that's because I really loved Orson Welles and the old radio theater, when he played the Shadow. And, well, obviously he did many other shows with a repertory company, pre-TV. And that's what video games are like to a degree. And some audiobooks, it's theater of the mind.
Absolutely.
And also because when I do conventions, which I just did a very successful one in Minneapolis a few weeks ago, I had 3 panels in 3 days, each 50 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And what I always do, my goal is it's a 3-pronged approach to inspire, educate, and entertain. And I kind of take my cue from the late Don Rickles and Robin Williams. And free association, like Robin Williams. And, a little bit of insult humor from Rickles, with love from the heart. And we're looking to perhaps look over some of it that we've videotaped and start writing out and compiling information for a one-man show at some point. Also, a dear friend of mine who sadly is suffering cancer in Los Angeles, brilliant writer, Brad Schreiber, another brother from another mother. He and I started working on a one-man show as Paul McCartney. That's who I started out with because I love the Beatles so much. We'd like to do that, produce that, get that up, and put it on tour with or without me. So there's a lot I have in mind. Being a voice actor, an actor in general, I audition for roles, I read for roles, but I never know what's coming up. And so at a certain point, I thought, well, it's time to get creative. It's time to have a voice. It's time to get out there. And I saw this as an opportunity, this discussion with you, to do that. This is, for both of us, an opportunity to grow and glow and have a voice that people will recognize, have a point of view, share our personalities, just share our gifts. And who knows where it's going to lead us. So
absolutely.
That's kind of all I got to say right now. There might be others out there close to me who know about some things I should be doing or talked about doing that I don't recall. But the next thing I'd like to do is go to the bathroom.
No problem.
I've
Go
seen
for
you
it.
take a break on here before for that.
Go for it. Yeah, I'll entertain the chat here. I'll read some of the chats that we got going in here, and I'll give you a
All right, I'm going to
couple
mute my
minutes.
mic and my camera so that I can do that and then try to anchor this thing again.
Sure thing.
How's that?
See you in a few.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Perfect. Right on. Well, chat. It's you and me. So I again, like, we've talked about a lot of stuff here. We've talked about a lot of things. I'm just I can't say this enough. For people that have watched the show before, like, you guys know where I stand on this stuff, right? You guys know where I stand on this stuff. Literally out here telling people that why are we tearing people down? Why are we out here tearing people down when we could be creating so much? Like, I love hearing the stuff that Quinton has to say here, because it's really showing that he's pivoting from losing from this loss. He's pivoting it into action. He's pivoting it into positive action, which I think something that people that are going through these situations really need to remember. There is another side. There is an other side. There is a light at the end of the tunnel towards this. I'm just gonna get a quick drink here. Goodness. Thank you so much, Shadows King. Take care. Thank you guys in the chat so much as well. If you want to super chat a question, go ahead and super chat a question. I do have a question from Gav for when Quinton comes back. I will do my best to go through the questions. If y'all have any, or if you just have questions in the chat, I'll eventually get to them as well. The people are chasing clout and power? Absolutely. He's on contract. Haven't thought of MySpace for years. Oh man, MySpace was so different back in the day. My top 8 was on fire. It was so good. It has been so good. But message them on Twitter. Call their support number, send emails, let them know Quinton is innocent. I 100% agree. If you want, so this is one thing I will say, people, as someone who has been in the seat of people, like of someone who is directing conventions, inviting people, who has power over that, get the word out to these individuals. Only talk about the positivity. Tell them how you want to see them at the show. Don't bring up the fact that, oh, they're innocent, you know, blah, 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 blah. Don't necessarily do that, because most of these conventions might not even know. Just talk about how really cool it would be to bring this person in. Talk about how you want to hear them in this role, how they're very talented, blah, blah, blah. Do that. If the question comes up about, well, what about X, Y, Z, go ahead and defend them. But don't just willingly bring it up. Tom was still in your top 8 in MySpace. Oh my god, that's so funny. But yeah, you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Yeah, bring up the positive aspects. Bring up the positive aspects of things. Talk about the experiences you've had with them. Like, I'm literally going to be playing Mass Effect 3 now. Now that I know that Quinton was voicing Colyet, that's going to be like, I'm guaranteed 100% to fucking cry on it now. 100%. Like, I tear up when I just think about the damn thing. Never mind like actually watching that cutscene. But like, honestly, go out there and tell people that you want to see this person, that you want to see that person. If you don't say it, they don't know, right? They don't know. And it's really, really important from a business perspective to kind of budget, shovel some creeper crunch for that remark. Oh my God, Tom P. Goodness. Y'all are crazy today. Companies who give into this, whether it's a convention or an entertainment company, are complicit in bullying. This is something I have said directly to Vic. And I'll say it to whoever needs to hear it 100% of the time. Any company that you've worked for that will take someone who is a literal nobody, non-quantity, over someone who has worked there for more than a day or past their probationary period. They take their word over yours. It's not a company worth working for. I told Vic straight up to his face that Funimation doesn't deserve someone of his talent. I don't think that Blizzard deserves Quinton Flynn's talent. Straight up. Because if you're willing to throw away what the fans want, what the fans enjoy, what is beloved, then you don't deserve to have it because you don't understand what you have. And I think that in certain instances, I think these companies hold back actors from bigger things. I think that, complacency sets in. It's easier to stay at the same job for 20 years, right? Then go out and start your own projects and whatever else. But I think there are certain machinations, because I believe nature has a way. You're Christian, you might think that it's God's path for you. But these things have a way of working out. So, like Quinton said, when one door closes, another one opens. Well, yeah, the doors are shut off for being a voice actor at Funimation, for example. That's not the end of the world. That's actually a bonus, in my opinion, because you're out of a cesspool. You've removed the tumor from yourself. Now you can begin to heal and you can begin to grow back stronger than you were before. I'll take a page out of I'll put my comic book hat on for a moment. I'll check my Twitter in just a moment there. I'll put my comic book hat on for a moment here. How Wolverine got stronger from having Magneto rip out the adamantium from his system, because the adamantium was poisoning him and was counteracting his healing process enough so that it was hampering him. But removing the adamantium from his system made him stronger, because while it stopped his bones from breaking and things like that, sure, it also was a detriment to his health. I think this is very much a similar situation. You go through a situation that pretty much cripples you. However, you're going to bounce back. Like the Zentai in Dragon Ball that Saiyans have, the Zentai thing where it doesn't kill you, it makes you ridiculously times stronger. All right, I have a couple messages. Oh, that's funny. Pin this in the live chat. Well, I will post it in the live chat. Oh my god, that's a massive fucking URL. 1 second. Holy crap. Pop-up city. I will post this in the live chat. Because the pin is actually where people can link stuff. Is it this one? I think it's this one. I know I'm not on screen at the moment, sorry. Because I'm looking at... Okay, there we go. There we go. I'll post it in the live chat here. Go away. No, you're there. Now go away. All right. So y'all can go to that link there. That's a petition to bring Quinton Flynn back into roles. Go ahead and sign that if you want to. If you don't want to, then don't worry about it. The only question you have left is, what perspective or theory does Quinton Flynn have on the... Yes! I'll ask him when he comes back. I'll try to remember that question. But yeah, if people want to super chat, I think it's set to $2. It's supposed to be set to $1, where Bella will read your super chat for you, or whatever you submit. But yeah, you can click the link on the very top there. It's pinned. That's my pseudo super chat button, because I'm not quite there yet. We're pretty close, I think, though. If you've not already subscribed to the channel, please do. I'm very close to 1,000. I have over 10,000 watch hours, and I'm very close to 1,000 subscribers. So I'd appreciate all the support, all the support there. I appreciate you all being here right now. It's been fantastic. It's been really, really cool. Do other voice actors do animal characters in anime replace Frank Walter and Walker D. Baker, and Jim Cummings? I have no idea. I do know that often there's oftentimes that voice actors do so many roles that they actively forget that they did roles. Like Vic forgetting that he actually voiced Bubsy, the Bobcat. That was pretty funny. If you have dinner, have a good one, Tom P. Well, I don't think Quinton is in Funimation. James Andrew Morrison. Hello, Toyman99X. How you doing, Stan? Good to see you. Yeah. Quinton is just in the bathroom. He should be back shortly. And I'm going to try to remember to ask that question. That was one thing I did actually want to dig into. Now that COVID's dying down, you're going back to starting your own entertainment management business. Hope you can help people like Vic. These companies don't deserve him. I completely agree. 100% agree with you there. Companies that shit on talent like that, actively, shit on people that do nothing, like 99.9% of the time do positive things for the communities, for the businesses, for the fans, for the vendors, for any eyeballs that are on that thing. And it just that 0.001% of time that they made one bad decision, they chose chocolate chips over mint ice cream. Good grief. Come on. Seriously.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's a few different places. I personally think that we should gather all these people up and make our own freaking dubbing studio, make our own entertainment group, and start making conventions. Like, ideally, I would love to have an entertainment group that had conventions all across, like, worldwide, ran by groups of people that know what they're fucking doing, that don't give in to bullshit from these hate groups, from these hate mobs. Go out there, put it under one umbrella, and then have the guests tour much like a band would, right? You'd have tour dates. Tommy Tallarico has video games live. Why can't we make a convention like that? Just have that convention move around from place to place, country to country, state to state, province to province. Why can't we do that? There's nothing said that we can't. Nothing stopping us from doing it. I think we should. I think it's time we take back the power from these corporations that aren't listening to you. I think it's time that we take back the power from these companies that aren't listening to us. We always talk about vote with your wallet. Well, what does that mean? Take action. You do that with me? That'd be fantastic, Samantha. That's a fucking gold mine. Because I can tell you right now, the conventions as we know them are not coming back. Right? The San Diego Comic-Cons, things like that, they're going to be fundamentally different. We already see that E3 will not have Konami. Konami has stated they're not going to E3. Everything is going virtual for these companies now because the big expos, the big draw, the whole thing where they would bring in Sony and Konami and Nintendo, all that stuff. They've all gone in-house now. There's no incentive for them to go outside of it. So that's going to have to evolve and change. I think the next thing that we could do is create that convention circuit, the convention tour. I mean, like for example, like if Anime Matsuri, right? Because there's an Anime Matsuri almost everywhere, but it's not the same Anime Matsuri. But just take for example, you take one convention brand, and then that convention becomes a circuit, much like the WWE, much like Video Games Live. Why can't that happen? Have that touring around. Have that go from city to city. It's in Florida, then it goes to Texas, goes over to Los Angeles, comes up to BC, down to Seattle, through Cleveland, goes up to Manitoba, Toronto, Montreal. Guaranteed dates. Have the talent show up for 2 or 3 of them. Have a large pool of talent. Maybe they show up for all of them. Who knows? Depends on how much time they have. But I think that would probably light the entire industry on fire. Because right now you have companies like Funimation who are basically acting like a talent agency. Basically acting like a talent agency. Gatekeeping actual people, like actual fans from who they're fans with. I think that's something that's... Welcome back, Quinton.
It's great to be back. I feel like a new human being.
Like $1 million?
A million.
$1 million?
$1 million. Yeah, I've taken all the gaffer's tape I can to lock this thing down from all my years in not only video production, but sound production for live rock and roll bands. I started out doing that, 4 years of high school. I did 13 plays, and 1 play I did production. And I had a high school rock band. And we played the clubs in Akron and Cleveland. And then went on the road and hit LA, did the same thing. So, it's been not only an artist life for me, but it's been a rock and roll life. It's been a theater life. It's been a touring life. It's been stand-up life. And it's a circus, man.
Yeah, you've done so much.
It's crazy and it's great. I mean, I've met some wonderful people I never would have met. Like you were talking about the folks at Funimation. I've never worked for Funimation. They're in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
So I've done improv with I'm trying to think, who is it? I think Mike McFarland. I did improv with him.
Oh.
Which was really cool at a convention some years ago. I haven't seen him in a while. And then one of my dear friends, Chris Kaysen, who's just the sweetest guy and the funniest, most rapier wit. He moved out to Los Angeles a good 6+ years ago. Hey, Chris, if you're watching, love you, mean it. And I do. And so I met some really cool people on the road. But I just want to remind everybody that entertainment it's show business. It's not show friends. And I found that out when I came under the gun and so many people disappeared.
Well, I know there was someone in the chat that wanted to ask.
Yeah.
That wanted to ask that. What, because they wanted to know your opinion about all of these people in the industry, like your friends, who you thought were your friends and colleagues, just either not saying anything about this or turning on you.
Well, there's one dear friend of mine I spoke to recently, and I won't reveal his name because I haven't cleared it with him. And he said he was contacted by BQF back when it was an active site of hate. And he said to me, he goes, yeah, I knew it was bullshit. I knew it was a scorned ex, some kind of revenge porn thing. He said, I was not about to climb on board. And he said, and I wasn't going to make a comment because I didn't want to add fuel to the fire. With that, he suggested that I sit down and compose a letter to companies like, those who produced, Blizzard, who produced the games in which I played Prince Kael'thas, as well as the folks who've done the No More Heroes, and let them know the outcome of the legal event, the court case,
Yeah.
and remind them in a gentle way of how popular I am with the fan base. And this was recently, he wrote me about this, and I said, all right, yeah, we'll do that. I haven't had the intestinal fortitude to do anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to rise from the ashes like a phoenix. But with the help of good friends that none of you would know, in entertainment, outside of entertainment, my wife Sam, big dear friends Margot and Manny, shout out to you both. We are looking at putting together a team, a collective to make these kind of dreams come true and move into a new chapter.
I think it's much
I
needed.
did have friends of mine, a few friends from Los Angeles who are in the business. One who's an actor and musician, voice actor, musician, and on camera, and another who's a musician and producer. A couple others who alerted to me what was going on when I already knew it was going on, but they offered their love and support, and they said, this is insane. Aside from that, after, like I said, 28 to 30 years in the business, I didn't hear from a single soul. My guess is, I don't have a crystal ball and I'm not a psychic, but based on human nature, I would guess one of a few things. They didn't want to get involved because they didn't want it to affect them. They wouldn't know what to say or how to address it. So like I said, fear.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't think it was anything personal. My paranoid brain would say it was personal. It's one friend I've spoken to a few times via text, who I love and loves me, who had a wonderful, rich career. She's incredible talent, who's been nothing but the same, good friend through this. And then, it's afforded me the opportunity to meet and grow and know some other people. But no, I didn't hear a lot. Not much from anybody. It was very quiet, very lonely. And I wouldn't wish it upon anybody.
No, that's definitely and that's one of the things too. It's like you're left alone with nothing. You don't have, I mean, you have very to little support, if at all. And then you're left alone to basically read this endless onslaught of negativity and hate and vitriol. Like, it's, I understand that, because I've been there even before, like way before. I'll share a story, a couple stories here. Way before I had anything to do with conventions, there was a LARP that I was a part of, live action role play that I was a part of, and I was always a shy kid, right? And like going to LARP basically brought out the actor in me and brought out like all that stuff. I really got into it, and I guess I was good at LARPing. I was good at role playing. And so when I got to one of the larger LARPs in the area that had been established, and there's been people that have been established playing it for several years, very long time. They have this like little hierarchy going on of LARPers. Like, oh, you're new, you're not allowed to be in any stories. You just have to be in the background. Like you can't be involved in anything because we've been here, we put our time in. And I guess because I was good at role playing, that got me into situations that, never probably should have been in, considering I wasn't there long enough. And that really rustled some jimmies with a few people. And there was an accusation that was made, unfounded, that was later proven to be a false accusation. And I had people target me because of how much attention I was getting from the plot team, and from the specific character types that I was playing, because they wanted to be the only part. They wanted to be the only one of that particular race or what have you. So I literally had people who I had thought were friends for years turn their back on me, and they say like, well, we can't say anything because it's going to jeopardize our position, and it's going to jeopardize this. You know, this is the only thing that I do on the weekend. Blah blah blah. And then I literally had other people say, I don't even care if the accusations are. I don't care the accusations are false. I want you to burn. Look, I've seen the worst of what that has to offer. Then even being in the situation when I was the media coordinator for Kitchener Comic-Con, when we invited Vic to the show, just the constant diatribe coming from people and the negativity and the attacks and the viciousness. And like, we had very little support. We're out here blind. We're like literally, we're in City Hall as like, that's our venue at the time. And we have the City Hall officials like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, they're not having our back. I mean, they didn't cancel the event. They didn't pull the contract, which was nice. But they didn't vocally have our back. It was all us standing up on our own. And it's just like, you're walking in blind. But I pulled out the iconic Captain America quote about planting yourself next to the tree, planting yourself like a tree next to the river of truth, and things like that. Because it's like when the entire world tells you to move, you have to stand there and say, no, you move. And we did that. And we did a very extraordinary event. I'm so proud of that team. Everyone did an amazing job. There was only like 12 people. We put on a show that literally knocked out events that have been in this region for 50 years. We won 2 awards.
Wow.
We beat out Oktoberfest, which has been here for 50 years for awards. So when people tell me, and people to this day still say, "Oh, it was a shit show. It was this. It was that." It's like, yeah, I can't hear you. I'm polishing these awards that we won.
Yeah.
But being in that spot, it's like I remember being there. I remember being in like the dark place, being like having no support and having to say no. I can't give up on this. And then just and climbing back from it and being like, you know, like I get reminded all the time. It's like you're only seeing a tiny slice of a tiny slice. Like you're not seeing the overwhelming support at the time. You're seeing all the negative because that's what's in your face at that point in time.
Mm.
But you got to remind yourself, and I tell people, got to remind yourself that there's a lot of good out there. There's a lot of good out there, and there's a lot of people that don't know the good that you can do. And I completely agree with you. I think that a lot of it is fear. I think there's a lot of people that are fearful of losing their spot because they've worked so hard. They don't have faith in themselves.
Yeah.
And they think that this is all they are. It's like I told Vic straight up. I think losing his spot at Funimation was the best thing for him because I think that he has so much to give to the world that being at Funimation was a setback because he can only do so much.
Right.
And like I think for yourself, I think this is a good fire to light under you because you have so much to give. You have so much talent, and like, why would you let it bottle? Like, why would you let it be bottled under like a Blizzard or, you know, whatever other company?
Yeah.
Like you have so much to give.
Thank you. First of all, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
A wonderful story. It takes a lot of intestinal fortitude. And
absolutely.
And thank you for what you said. I you know, with as much humility as I can muster, I do agree with you 100%. You know, I know I had a friend of mine in college who said, Quinton, there's a fine line between cocky and confident. And I said, right, I understand that. I remember going to one of my agents a few years ago, and I was quite confident about my talents. And he said, wow, you sound pretty confident. I said, I am.
Yeah.
I have a lot to offer. I said, in fact, if we look at the actors in the lobby right now, I said, this is going to sound rather pretentious or egocentric. I said, but I can run circles around these people. I could stand on my head and spit nickels. There's nothing I can't do. I've been doing this forever. I'm flexible. I'm directable. I've been a writer, a producer, a director. So I said, yeah, I am confident. And if you want to work with me, if you want to continue to work with me, please consider that.
Absolutely.
Don't dismiss it. You know, and I agree with you. You know, many of these companies, they look at their bottom line like any company. It's about how is it going to affect their bottom line.
Exactly.
It's all about the bottom line. You know, will this be an asset or a detriment? And for whatever reason, they assumed it was going to be a detriment, but they couldn't be more wrong. And I'm going to say this because I truly believe this. You know, I had an opportunity to listen to some, I don't know, voice clip of some other actor who was voicing Prince Kael'thas. And like I said, I've been a director, I've been a writer, I've been a producer, and I was able to hear it from a distance, you know, not as a guy who'd been replaced. And my first thought, instinctively, professionally, was it doesn't line up. It's milquetoast. It's average. It doesn't work. You know, someone said, well, what would work? I said, well, it's hard for me to tell you what would work, except to say that my performance works because I've been the character for years. The character, I've grown into the character, and the character has grown with me.
Absolutely.
I've worked with wonderful directors through Blizzard, brilliant directors, and together we've given life to this character and story. And Prince Kael'thas is big, you know. He's very big, you know, and he has a lot to say. So there's a lot of dynamic range there. And I thought, if you're going to replace me, you're going to have to find someone else who brings that to the party. You can't go above what I've provided because you're going to go into cartoon land. I straddle that line between, you know, I make it a real character with a richness, peaks and valleys. But what I heard was something with a flat affect.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just my opinion. Based on what I heard, I went, well, I don't like it. You know, you want to go a different direction? I got a better idea. Keep what I've done, keep what we recorded over the summer, and create a new character to give to that actor. You know,
Exactly.
The actor's performance is great for another role, not for an established role with people who've known for 15 years. And I haven't heard the actor who's replaced me as Sir Henry. I'm sure the actor did an admirable job, but it's their take. It's not mine. And what I do, I'm really proud of. And I think kicks ass.
Yeah.
You know, it is the definitive Sir Henry and stands out. So, you know, I'd like to think that perhaps they will reconsider, and put me back in. They've got all the performances. They were beyond happy with my performances. Ask me if I got a raise.
I wouldn't think that you got a raise.
No. But I was happy to do it for the love of the character.
Yeah.
For the fans, for the storyline, for the consistency. Not getting rich off it, folks.
Definitely
not getting rich. You know, I'm like a plumber.
Skunknet tipped $5.
I come in and
As
I
someone
do
who
a
has
job.
also been under heavy fire of hate and malice,
Sorry.
we have just
We have
ignored
a
such threats and did our
super
best
chat
for
here
the
for
greater
you.
good.
Oh.
Kindness through hate.
Sorry, I went
Actions
off on a
speak
tangent,
louder than
but, you know.
words. Stay
Fuck
strong,
it.
Crumbian and Quinton Flynn. Rise
Sorry,
above
1
hate.
second.
Less than 3.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for that wonderful. I know Quentin didn't hear that, so I'm going to pull it up here right now. There was somebody that just super chatted. I'm sorry, it's gonna take our
I don't know what that means.
beautiful picture away here. What it means is someone sent a message and it reads it on the YouTube, but because of the StreamYards, it's a bit of a butt. So I'm just going to try and bring the message up here for you so I can read it to you, because this was meant for you. This message was meant for you.
Message in the bottle.
From Skunknet. As someone who has also been under heavy fire of hate and malice, we have just ignored the threats. We did our best for the greater good. Kindness through hate. Actions speak louder than words. Stay strong, Crumbrion and Quinton Flynn. Rise above hate. There we go. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Wonderful
Thank you.
message. Sorry about
We
the,
shall.
the
We shall
boomerang here.
overcome.
We shall overcome. But yeah, it's so funny, because like what you do is unconscious, right? Like you've been this character, like you've inside and out been this character. You've brought these roles, you've breathed life into these roles, and to have someone walk in there and try to replace 15 years of like experience, it's really impossible to do. You can take the most iconic people, right? Like you can take a I don't even know who would be comparable, but like you could take like a like a legendary actor and put them in as Leonard Nimoy's Spock, and it wouldn't be the same.
Right.
Like you can take anybody, no matter how talented they are, they can get close. Like, as much as I love Vic, do I think that Vic is a replacement for William Shatner's Captain Kirk? No. But like they both are great in their own respects. But what you're, again, I completely agree with what you're saying here. Is like there's something missing when you take somebody and you just replace somebody. You take the soul out of that character. You just take the wind out of the sails, because it's not that level. It's you have like this unconsciousness to it, and that can't be taught. That's something that you have to step into. You have to learn it. You have to get to be at that point.
Well, it's a craft, it's art. I mean, it's, we all did it together. It's like doing an album or doing a movie, it's the same thing.
Absolutely.
You've got your talent, you've got, the written word, there's producers involved, engineers involved, and everybody has an input, and it all kind of comes together. When it comes together, it's magic. When you have the right take.
Yeah.
Like everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
And there have been opportunities for me to adjust, improvise a little, ad lib. The last, oh goodness,
Uh-oh.
we had an earthquake. It was an earthquake. The last few sessions I did with a great actor, director, J.B. Blanc. And it was wonderful. He challenges me as an actor. Because he is such a good actor. And he gives me great challenges because he has a great ear. And we did that over the summer, where I was in my then roommate's walk-in closet, Adam Gifford, who is a brilliant actor, a journeyman actor, who's been acting since he was a kid, knows so much. He's also a rock and roller. And man, we both sweat in that box. We had to set up our own recording studios because of COVID. We took money from wherever we could get it to make it happen. We gave, we didn't just sit back. We weren't able to just walk into a studio. We had to create a studio.
You didn't just throw your hands up in the air and be like, well, this is not my fault. I can't do anything about it.
No, I mean, they made us responsible. They said, you're going to have to, buy this kind of gear and create your own home studio and to make this work for us.
Yeah, exactly. Good grief.
Fine, I'm willing to go to any lengths, whatever it takes, and same with Adam. And we both were able to give them wonderful performances, satisfy their souls, and the writers and producers, casting directors, if you're going to replace someone in a role, I've been replaced before. Maybe I haven't. I've replaced other actors, and I've not done anything radically different. I've done something to approximate what they've done.
Yeah.
Or we start a new role and it's a new project. So just like with Willy Wonka, when Tim Burton decided to do his own, he decided to not repeat the brilliance of Gene Wilder, because you'll never do that.
You can never
live up to that.
He went a different
way, and I wasn't interested in seeing it, so I didn't. But he in this case, if you're going to keep a series going, you're not changing anything, but you're changing the actor. I don't know. Hey, man, it's not my baby. No one asked my opinion, but I would say really consider it. Consider your fans. Consider the legacy.
Well, it's almost as absurd as writing like a comic book and then halfway through the comic book changing the artist.
Exactly.
Like it's so jarring of an experience as a fan and as someone who's like taking that in. The only the only thing that I could think of that it worked for would be The Wizard of Oz, when they went from the black and white and they transitioned to the color.
Oh yeah.
And that was done on purpose. That wasn't done out of necessity or, because they wanted to make a statement. That was like an oh my goodness moment. But
that was magical.
It was magical.
Yeah.
And like you don't have that, and that stuff is missing from today's media, I think.
Yeah.
What can we do to make this special for who's watching this? Not what can we do to make the most money or reach the most demographics. It's they understand, they have a vision of what they want to do, and and they executed that vision. And nowadays it's just like, well, people are like, well, how can we milk the most money out of this situation?
So sad, Never really underestimate the intelligence of your audience.
Exactly.
Exactly. They get it. I mean, like the panels I do when they're live, man, they're always different. And they're during the day, and they're under 18, they're over 18. Sometimes there's parents. And everybody gets it. They get the jokes. They get the references. Like, they get the musicality. If there's song that I've provided, whatever it is, when it's a live, rich experience, man, they're on board. Don't dumb it down.
It's electric.
Yeah, it is.
It really is.
And I heard what you were saying about putting together a touring group. It's a great idea. Like, a rock and roll circus, if you will.
Yeah. I personally I think that is the next step, right? Because we were in the death spiral of the modern convention, because you took away the heart and soul of conventions. Yeah. The indie cons, the ones that were ran by fans, the ones that were ran for fans, they remembered where they came from, what they were there for. Back in the day when you couldn't get anime at the click of a mouse, you had to rely on someone that came back from Japan with a beaten up VHS tape and a daisy chain of VCRs to record your copy of whatever anime you wanted to watch. It's that stuff it's that like fundamental thing that is missing from modern conventions. Now it's just like, well, come and pay $120 to stand in line for 7 hours. Maybe you spend 10 seconds with an actor that's going to stare at the table and not even look you in the eye.
Yeah, where's the joy in that?
Yeah, it's been sucked out. Like I point to it all the time at Anime North. When I went to Anime North, like the 2 times that I've went to Anime North, I was inside once, because there was more to do and there was more fun outside than there was inside the convention. There's right. Bigger crews, there's bigger groups, there is more things to do.
Yeah.
And like, why would I pay money to go in and be uncomfortable and stare at 90% of the floor being pop figurines?
Yeah.
There's nothing unique. There's nothing interesting. The people that are there clearly don't want to be there. And it's so sad because there's a lot of people out there. I know so many actors. It wasn't until I went to Con G in, I think, 2016. I think it was around then. It was when I went to Con G, or maybe it was 2006. I don't remember. But when I saw and met Scott McNeil, one of the most fantastic personalities. And Scott McNeil has, much like yourself, has voiced a freaking entire generation of cartoons.
Yeah.
And he gets his fans. He understands. Like, he has to be dragged away from his autograph line because he wants to stay until every single person has had a handshake and a hug. Like, and I see these voice actors that go to some of these conventions and they don't even look up. Like, they have their hat on, they have their face down. They're barely even paying attention to people that come up and say hi to them. It's like, and most times they're spending hours in line to meet these people.
It's true.
And it's just a lot of times they're just dollar signs because that's all they are to conventions. That's all they are to corporations.
That's correct.
There's walking wallets.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I'm similar to Scott in that sense. There's a convention I did in Illinois a couple of years ago, and I was on the floor signing, and it was time for it to end. And a couple of the other actors on either side of me, they closed up and left. But I had I don't know if they had lines in front of them or not. I wasn't paying attention, but I saw quite a line in front of me still. And I just got up on the chair and yelled, "Hey, I'm not going anywhere until I sign and see everyone that's here. Are you with me?" And yeah. and
Awesome.
I did. I stayed, and more people came. And people came who said, "I'm so grateful you stayed. I'm only here today.
Yes.
I couldn't have gotten here any earlier, and I'm leaving tonight."
Yep.
So, that's the kind of thing I consider. Like, how can I be of service? This is something I learned over time. I want to be of service.
Absolutely.
Love and tolerance is our code. How can we be of service to others? I'm here to be of service. I'm grateful for the fans out there. They come to see us, and some who don't. There were some who were like, "Wow, I'm so glad to see your banner up there. I didn't know you did all that stuff, but I grew up on you." Or, "I love this particular character. I just want to have a chat with you." And I said, "Of course you can. We're human beings.
We are.
And you have a dream. Don't wait. Act."
Exactly.
A little Axel for some of you Kingdom Hearts fans out there.
You can't axle the axle.
That's right. There's no axe in Axel. No one can cancel me but me, and I'm not about to do that.
Exactly. And I mean, like, these individuals have done, I mean, in a backhanded way, have done you a favor, because they've unshackled you.
Yeah. And I met some of the most amazing people through it who really came to my aid and joined the team and created an incredible group. And others who had courage, like yourself, put their voices out there online. They dissented, they disagreed. And you have my heart, and my hat's off to you.
Well, we all
and
love
so, yeah,
you too.
you're right. It is. It's a time of change, and it's about time to say something different and say, "Look, this is who I am. I'm not. You can't put me in a box.
Exactly.
I'm not a BA. Yes, I do voice acting, but I'm an actor. I do stage. I've done film. I'd like to do more. Maybe TV. I'm a musician. I have been for years, probably since before many of you were born. Take your resentment and pray it away. Or drink it away, snort it away, fuck it away. but stay away. I have no interest in you.
Exactly. You know, there was a very
And
good.
God
Sorry,
bless.
Go ahead. God bless.
God bless. God bless. Hey, God bless. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I got a little emotional up there. You know what I mean? I got a little, working class hero on you. I'm sorry. You know what I did? I reacted through my actions instead of pausing when agitated and responding. So I have a responsibility to use the ability to respond appropriately. So if no one's told you today, I love you.
We love you
And
too, Quinton. We love
thank
you too.
you. And we need to love ourselves first before we can love
Absolutely.
anybody else.
Absolutely. And
I
there
didn't
was
want to interrupt you. You had something to say.
Yeah, there was a very good quote from, I think it was Tupac. Rest his soul. He said something along the lines, and I'm going to butcher it because I'm a boomer like that, but he said something along the lines of like, just because just because I don't like you doesn't mean I don't want to see you eat. I just want to see you eat at a different table, not mine.
Right. Absolutely. It's great, man.
Yeah.
It's
That's 100%. 100%.
Reminds me of being in high school in a cafeteria.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? You can eat. I'm not saying that you can't eat. Just don't eat near me, please. Just go somewhere else.
Yeah, and find some happiness. Follow your bliss. Again, like Joseph Campbell said, like, be happy.
Yeah.
People want to be around happy people. People want to be around creative people. People want to be up energy. We want to uplift each other. That's the way we do it.
And you've proven so much by standing up for yourself and doing what you've done now in these past few months, just this year. You've done so much to show that people that there is a path back that is not, dictated by these lunatics. Right. There is a path back that is dictated by yourself. And back in the day, when we had Vic in the show in 2020, we proved to people that you can hate somebody and still be in the same building and everyone get along.
Yeah. Well, and I love everyone that I've ever worked with, to be honest with you. And I couldn't have done this without the great team that I have around me and behind me, who have encouraged me when I said, I can't do it anymore. I'm done. It's over. Fuck it. I'm going to get into a different profession, And they're like, no, you have too much to give, just like you said.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm here and I'm standing up for myself, but I didn't do it alone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the funny part about this. Like, you look at all of these situations, and we didn't do KCC alone. Like, I did a lot of the heavy lifting on the social media because I was one of the only media savvy individuals, but the rest of the team did so much. I'm sure for yourself, like, you have something similar where you have a few people that are really talented in certain things. Some people are talented in others.
That's
but
it.
We do it together. We do it as a group, as a community. That's the beautiful part, because there's a lot of people working together to build something. And you see these people out here that are attacking people and tearing people down. Oh, there's another
Dark
chat.
Strange Neko 17 tipped $4.20. Love you, Quinton. I am glad I meet you at Game Realms in Burbank, Cali.
Well,
thank you for being the voice of Aruka Sinise, who turned out to be the father figure for me, not just Naruto. Can you say the line "gotta memorize" in Axel's voice?
1 second, sorry. If there was a way that I could play these through StreamYard, it would be amazing. There's a really big comment there for you, Quinton. So it's from Dark Strange Nico 17. It says, "Love you, Quinton. I am glad I met you at Game Realms back in Burbank, California. Thank you for being the voice of Iruka Sensei, who turned out to be the father figure for me and not just Naruto. Can you say the line 'got it memorized' in Axel's voice?"
Got it memorized. Got it memorized. Got it memorized. They oftentimes ask us for 3 takes. So I'm thinking somebody out there's listening going, I didn't sound like him. Well, that's better. I like that. So,
Sorry, if I do go silent, it's because there's like a thing reading the super chat on stream, and I don't want to talk over it. And then I'll read it to you afterwards.
Is there audio?
There is audio on YouTube. It's just I can't
so
for whatever.
So you're hearing it, right?
Sorry?
Are you hearing
I'm hearing it, yeah. I'm hearing it. So that's why I go silent, because I don't want to talk over it, and I'm listening to it, and then I'll relate to you. Because the way that I have this set up right now, I used to have my stuff go strictly through StreamYard and all that stuff, but then StreamYard's got bought out by stuff, and I'm just like, heck with it, I'm just going to go through OBS. So I kind of MacGyvered my setup here.
MacGyver. Yes.
So it's Boomer Central, but it works. So I'm happy with it. Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Come on, man. Come on, like I said, if you saw the Gaffer's tape that I have around this camera and this
I would be
tripod
proud
in front of me.
I would be proud. You know, before I had this wonderful microphone set up, I don't know, like in the early days of when I did this podcast, I had a microphone stand that was broken. And so I duct taped my microphone to it, and people were saying, well, you need a pop filter. You need this, you need that. I'm like, okay, well, I don't have this crap. I'm just like brand new. So I took a sock and I rolled the sock up and I put it over top of the microphone and I wrapped it with a hair elastic. It worked out great. But then I had this other, like, I think it was a coat hanger that I stretched over some stockings over top of it to make my own pop filter. So
yeah. Necessity is the mother of invention.
Exactly. And you know, artists create, so creators create.
Right. Yeah. And I know my late father would be proud of me, like rigging it up like this.
Well, I'm
Former
proud
electrician,
of you.
You know, he'd be like, yeah, use that tape.
But yeah, like I going back to the point that we had earlier about the traveling convention thing, I think it's time for a change for conventions. I think it would. I think it would be a great idea to have like an entertainment group or whatever else, have them overall, like seeing an overall booking stuff, and then having like the pockets of groups in cities to go in and plan the individual events out, and then have it tour around. And there you go. Because like people want to see you. People want to see their favorite actors or musicians or whatever else, and people are hungry for it, right? So.
Yeah, that'd be a show, man. It would. A really great tour.
It would, absolutely.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Give something for people to look forward to in this day and age.
I like it.
A difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Lord knows the booking agents out there all have, hundreds of people listed on their rosters. And now it's as ridiculous as it would be for auditioning for a role. And, I've had some great folks that I've worked with. And they all have different flavors and ideas, but ultimately they're looking for the top, same thing. Who are their top earners?
Exactly.
How are they going to make the most money to keep their businesses afloat?
Yeah.
It's not that creative.
Manny tipped $4.20. Stream Miss Right by Quinton Flynn on Spotify.
There we go. Someone's putting your stuff out there. Stream Miss Right by Quinton Flynn on Spotify.
Thank you. Great song. Great song I wrote. And I love it, and I'm glad you love it. I sang lead and harmonies, played tambourine, harmonica. Worked with a couple of wonderful individuals on that. David Walsh, Chris Dammerst, and his father, the late Mark Dammerst. The latter three of us all mixed and produced the final cut that you'll hear, and it rocks, man. It's fucking cool.
That's so awesome. Well, I'm just thoroughly impressed with literally everything that I've, even in the past 24 hours that I've learned about you. Like, I was impressed before, but just to see so much, like, it goes to show you, like, even though you can look at somebody, you can do all of this research on somebody, you still don't have any clue about how amazing they are.
Thank you.
It's so great. We also have another chat here. I'm gonna pull up that message. Oh my goodness, so slow doing this. I don't know how other people do this. Not everyone's. This is from SkunkNet. Hey, not everyone's cut out for bigger and better things. Sometimes the smallest roles in the good fight are the most important. 3Dog from Fallout. That's a very good quote. Very good quote.
Nice. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So.
But we all do what we do, and we all
absolutely.
count.
We all
in
do.
Great or small amounts.
And it's just we've seen that, right? We've seen that in so many situations, and not only just the past year, but the past few months.
Yeah.
How much like people can make a difference, for good and bad. Hopefully, this is the tail end of the bad, for for a lot of this. I guess I think largely, and this is something I mentioned to you in DMs. I think largely we're going to start seeing this like outrage culture and stuff start to dim down a bit more, because the general mass don't understand and don't know what's going on, right? Like what a lot of these like shock individuals are going for, they're trying to flood the search engines with like negativity and slap fights and everything else like that, so that when the regular person says, "Oh, Quinton Flynn's coming. What is he from? I'm going to tap up Quinton Flynn," and they see like this giant spread of toilet paper on Google. But that's what they're going for, right? But the general public, who might not know that you're a voice actor, or might not have known that they grew up with you, or
Right.
might not know, like, because like you can tell someone, "Oh, Kingdom Hearts," and they're like, "Oh, I don't know what Kingdom Hearts is," but you say Timon and Pumbaa, boom, people are going to be like, "Oh my God, really?"
Yeah.
Like, they didn't know, because they wouldn't think to know. They just like, "Oh, it's Timon." No.
Yeah, and that happened at the last convention we did in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
People walked up and they saw it on my banner, and they came up and started chatting about it. They were thrilled beyond belief,
Absolutely.
blown away. And yeah, I'm in agreement with you. It's here's the other thing that I found interesting. Number of friends of mine in the business who I'm close with, who I spoke to, had no idea about this going on.
Yeah.
No idea, had never even heard of it.
Yeah.
Same with the folks in the general public. A lot of friends and family members of mine, they're not on Twitter, or they're not
Exactly.
on Instagram, or they're not on any, of the other platforms. So they had no clue. But you made a comment in the DM that perhaps you'll remember. I'll try to jog your memory. Had something to do with the fact that because we're focused on it so much, maybe it's the 1%.
The 1% of the 1%.
Right. And it blows up in our minds like a gigantic film, and it wraps around our head, and we walk around. It's like VR. We think that everybody is thinking it about us. Paranoia. We fear that they're judging us. It's this, again, it's that crazy emotional response of
Absolutely.
fight or flight. It's distorted.
Yeah.
It's distorted thinking. It's a cognitive dissonance. But please talk about the 1%, the 9% that you laid out for me, for your fans, and for anybody who's interested.
So I had mentioned this. I tell people this all the time, because this is something that any time that I have come across a situation where someone is dealing with internet outrage, it is exactly the same, because people don't understand what it's like until they've been in the epicenter of it. It's like you could tell people, but they won't believe you, because it's so outrageous. But the fact of the matter is, it's 1% of the 1% that you're dealing with. Like, right. you're talking about, it seems like you're dealing with 10 million people, but you're dealing with one person 10 million times. Right. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And it's we have another chat.
Andrea Fiorito tipped $4.20. Hope to have the pleasure of meeting you one day, Quinton. Till then, I wish you nothing but the best of luck and all the love as you move forward.
All right, let me pull that one up real quick. That one was one for you as well. I really wish. I'm sorry. This is boomerang left and right here. Andrea Fiorito. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. I really apologize.
Hey, how you doing, Andrea? God bless. Nice to see you.
Hope she says, hope to have the pleasure of meeting you one day, Quinton. Till then, I wish you nothing but the best of luck and all the love as you move forward.
Oh, thank you, darling. I'll
There
see
we
you in
go.
charge tomorrow.
But
The Irish and the Italians.
absolutely. But like it's 1% of the 1% that we're dealing with here. And
Yeah.
it's really easy to get swept up and think like everybody is oh my god, because you get the rope, you get the rug taken out from under you, and you get the rope in the mail saying just do it, right? What can you do? You are it's like the movie 1408, right? You've ever
Didn't
watched
see
that
it.
movie?
Go ahead.
If people out there have ever watched that movie, basically the room is like demonically cursed, and whoever goes in it is basically driven insane until they are forced to like they're faced with the only option of getting out of the room is killing themselves.
Right.
And that's kind of what the internet does to us. It puts us in room 1408. And we're constantly in that. We're constantly reminded that we can never leave, and the only way out is through that magical portal. And it's like, well, no, it's not. Which is why I say for yourself, for others who have been in it, it is a great thing to go through, as hard and difficult as it can be, because when you come out the other side, you can never be taken advantage of again. Like it can never shackle you again. Because it's now, because like when you're in those situations, it feels like it's impossible. It feels like it's never going to end, because every waking moment of your life is that. And a lot of that is because we only focus on that, and we only choose to focus on that because it's human nature to obsess about that a little bit. Obsess about the threat. Make the threat go away. Well, the threat's not going away. What's a bigger threat? We got to take care of it. Like you were saying it to start off the show, it's comes down to those like bare fundamental nature, like things of nature, the fight or flight thing. Like you can't run away from the internet. I mean, you can unplug from the internet, but that's what it comes down to. And it was one thing that I had to learn a long time ago. Thankfully, I learned it a long time ago, and I got through it. And I'm here to hopefully reach as many bloody people as I possibly can to let them know how to get through it, because sometimes you do need to just unplug and detach yourself from it and just go and live your life. Or as some of the popular phrases right now, go outside and touch grass. But remind yourself, your life is not just what's on social media. It's not TikTok. It's not Facebook. It's not Twitter. It's not Instagram. Your life is your life. Your life is like, it's physical. It's things you can touch, things that you can create, things you go out and do. And there's a subsect of society that they only exist on the internet, and they believe that's the way to handle things.
Yeah, it's insane.
It is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. Yeah. But
it makes no sense.
I don't want to take up too much more of your time here, Quinton.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you carving out. I know it's been a little bit over 3 hours, so I really appreciate you carving out the time tonight to come on here and talk. Was there anything else that we didn't touch on that you wanted to speak about?
No, there's nothing I can think of. I want to thank you so much for having me on for this chat, because, I'd seen one of your shows before because of my crew. The ladies know who they are. She, and they, and the extended folks, friends, who I choose to call family, who are out there, who've worked with them and us by proxy. I just want to thank them, and everybody else who's in my corner, and is understanding, loving, and kind. I look forward to seeing you on the road, at another show, somewhere else, perhaps on the net. Be strong. Follow your bliss, as I've said before. Dream your dreams and make your dreams a reality. And I want to thank you, Cress, because I have a tremendous amount of respect for you and admiration. Your intelligence, your passion, your compassion, and your sense of humor. Wild and perfect. I relate 100%. And it's amazing that we found that we have so much in common just through,
Absolutely.
open-hearted DMs,
And
truth.
thank you.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, darling. Yeah, honey. Yeah, sweetheart. Yeah, baby. Oh, behave. Yeah. The truth will set you free, as they say.
Absolutely.
And no, unless there are questions, I got nothing else to add. If you have questions, if you want to add anything, otherwise we're good, man. I started drinking water because I was getting jacked up on the coffee, and I realized, that's a diuretic. It's time to hydrate.
I think we've hit everything. I don't want to go too long because I don't
Right.
want to like rehash things and beat a dead clown. But honestly, everything that we've said, 100% agree with where you're going. I commend you for doing what you've done, and staying strong through it. It's a hell of a trip. It is a hell of a trip to go through what you've gone through, and thankfully you came out the other side relatively unharmed. I mean, I say relatively, but there's people out there that have gotten it a lot worse. I've seen it firsthand. So as long as you come out the other side with a work like a functioning pulse, I think that's a win, in my opinion. Because when their goal, when the opponent's on this side, when their goal is to put you in the dirt and they don't put you in the dirt, that's a good day from my side. So
right, I agree with you. And as they say, more will be revealed.
Absolutely. Well,
and everybody stay in your own sandbox.
yes.
And those of you who don't clean up your kitty litter, that's on you.
It's their own stink they have to breathe in at that point.
That's right. Enjoy the aroma and the ammonia.
Oh my goodness. Well, Quinton, if you could just stick around just for a few moments after the show, we'll wrap things up and all that stuff. I'll get some links off of you because I want to put some links in the description for the video so people can find your stuff. I want to thank the chat so much. Everybody in chat, you guys have been amazing. You are fantastic. Always love every one of you. This has been yet another Canuckleheads, and this is Crumb reminding you to keep your stick on the ice. Bye-bye.